Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. I'm tempering my enthusiasm because I was instructed by one Benjamin Higgins to make sure that I come in today and, be normal. So, good morning.
Treat today the same.
Yeah.
Whether we won or lost yesterday.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul. He's our executive producer. It's Ben. Hi, Ben.
I didn't say that you had to be like somber. I just said,
hello, everybody.
even
We're just
keel.
going to talk monotone today.
The Padres were able to remain victorious last night. Are now 1-0 in their
I am
last
neither
one
positive
game.
nor negative.
I am right down the middle. No, that game was awesome last night. Amazing. So excited. World Series back on. And feeling great. Feeling great on Tuesday morning. A little tired. I was probably the earliest to leave last night, our victory celebration.
You were.
Yeah, I was.
You were definitely the earliest to leave from the Odyssey box. Whether you were the earliest to leave out of the 42,000 fans at the sellout crowd, probably also, yes.
But that being said, was also the first to arrive. So everyone can suck it on that one. I was the first one there. Actually, no, your son, Jack, was the first one in the Odyssey suite. I walked in, he was sitting in there alone by himself. And I said, buddy, get some food, get some drink. He was, a little, obviously, 19-year-old kid in the company suite. I mean, I don't know. I didn't expect him to be like chopping up rails or something on the desk, but like I used to do in my dad's company suite. But I was like, no, get a slider or two and a Sprite, help yourself and have some fun. And it was good to see him. And yeah, we had our celebration at Petco Park last night in the Odyssey suite. Suite Life is nice. They had it catered. It was lovely. It was a lovely, lovely experience to celebrate, being the number one station in San Diego. It's not something that happens all the time. Frankly, it's not something I've ever even been a part of in 14 years of doing this. So it's a big deal. And it was really cool. And my buddy made a joke. He goes, oh, cool. So to celebrate your great job at work, you guys should all go to your other place of work. Hey, everybody, we're just going to extend today's work day by longer. And I said, it's funny because it's actually true, but it's not anything we wouldn't have been doing anyway. Watching the game, we just happened to be in a night.
Gave us other options.
He did. He said bowling or race car driving. As much as I wanted to see Ben and Coach duke it out like Cold, Trickle, and Rowdy on the track at K2, K5. It didn't happen, but we ended up going to the
get over
suite.
here, Higgins.
Hey,
your ass right into the wall.
That's rubbing's racing, Ben. You can't even get upset about that. But it was awesome. We had a great time, and the boys played really, really well. So it was fun. It was fun to see everyone.
To me, the treat is getting the suite catered and getting the food options.
No doubt, because we could get the suite.
Yeah, I enjoyed having my pick of food. We had we had tri-tip nachos.
Yes, delicious. The Cardiff crack.
We also had tri-tip barbecue sandwiches.
Delicious.
Very good. Mini slider cheeseburgers.
Delicious.
Pretzel bites.
Delicious.
A little surprising, but that was nice.
A little queso to dip them in.
We had hot hen wraps.
I did not have a hot hen.
I tried everything. I just wanted to make sure I could give a review. That one was maybe the B item to me.
Okay.
I mean, it was good. It had kind of a slaw in it. It was more of a cold wrap.
Maybe put it on a bun.
Yeah, after the hot
it.
food, I thought not quite my favorite, but not terrible. I like the chicken was good.
How many brownies and cookies did you eat?
I only had 2. I had a oatmeal raisin and a chocolate chip.
I had 2 oatmeal raisin cookies and 3 brownie wedges. I told you guys yesterday. What did I tell you when I left?
I think we were out of brownie. Maybe that's why they were out of brownie wedges by the time I made it to I was the last one to eat because I was the last one to get there.
1 oatmeal raisin, 1 white chip.
I like that we all like oatmeal raisin cookies because
it's a bad rap.
So few do, and I'm like,
it's a great cookie.
It's a great cookie. It's a phenomenal.
I
cookie.
always feel like I'm making a healthy choice.
Yes, it's oatmeal.
When I pick an oatmeal raisin cookie.
Damn good
Look what I brought for snack today.
Over a chocolate chip. I've made a healthy life decision. Look, you had a chocolate chip cookie in front of you or an oatmeal raisin. I'm essentially on a diet if I choose an oatmeal raisin cookie.
Let me tell you something else. Let me tell you something else about the oatmeal raisin cookie that goes way underrated. If you walk into someone's home and you see a plate of, let's say, bigger cookies, and that it's, make a circle with your hand. And there's 10 chocolate chip cookies, and they're sitting on a plate. And then there's 10 oatmeal raisin cookies of the same size. Which one's going to be more soft and melt in your mouth? Without question, 100% of the time, the oatmeal raisin. Sometimes you grab that chocolate chip cookie and you're like, oh, cool. It's a hockey puck that's flavored like chocolate chips. You get that oatmeal raisin cookie, it's soft. It bends when you bite it, and you go, God dang, this is what I wanted.
If you
this
can
is what
see
I
us on the YouTube
little
stream,
cinnamon.
you can trust us. The three of us know what we're talking about on high caloric foods.
That's exactly
And
How did you gain all the weight?
I
by
agree
eating
with you.
oatmeal raisin cookies.
And there's not, I mean, a great warm chocolate chip cookie
It's delicious.
is
But
absolutely delicious.
you can't roll the dice that it's going to be soft and warm.
I almost have to have a cold glass of milk to go with chocolate chip cookies. What's great about oatmeal raisin, though,
Goes with anything.
it also goes with breakfast.
Absolutely.
Oatmeal raisin and a cup of coffee
Delicious.
is just
Fantastic.
perfect in the
Mhm.
morning. I love when Shell makes oatmeal raisin cookies. They are left over. You better believe 2 of them are coming with me to be consumed with my coffee on the way to work, because it is a perfect combination.
It
in the
really
morning.
is. And another perfect combination, the staff here at 97.3, the fan, was great to see everybody, hang out with everybody. I got FaceTime last night with Coach. It was me and Coach in there chopping it up before the game, talking about, what are the issues with the San Diego Padres. The good thing is some of the things that he's pinpointed I hadn't thought about, and some of the things that I had pinpointed he hadn't thought about. And so we got to chop it up in there. His lovely wife, Kelly, as well. Super, super nice. Talking about the kids. And we're so on an island here doing mornings, and Coach broadcasts from his home. So we don't get to see anybody really. And it was nice to be in there. Of course, our beloved, fearless leader himself, the great Adam Klug.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
No, it's extra sweet because it was an oatmeal raisin cookie. That's why it was extra sweet. And we ate that sucker out of house and home last night. We did. In totality, I had 2 sliders, some nachos, 1 Sprite, 2 oatmeal raisins, and 3 brownie wedges. That is a solid night at the ballpark last night for your boy. And it was delicious. My wife came. It was great. Got to see Ben's son, Jack, who's the sweetest kid, who I have now decided needs to come work for us in some capacity, because I'll tell you what, he's a fairly new-ish baseball fan, right? A couple of years. 3?
Die Hard, lasts like 3 years maybe.
But always kind of maybe a cursory knowledge of it, like it was always on in the house. And now he's settled in. It's a great bonding thing for father and son. You know that. My son and I bond over it. Paul, sorry. But
Was it Father's Day coming up in a couple weeks?
it is actually your favorite. It hurts every time. He has a really good baseball brain, and he knows the game. I'm sitting there last night, and I'm like, Jack, how many walks do you have? He's like, 2. And Paulie's like, hang on, I think it's he's like, I'm like, nope, he's right. And he goes, with Kyle Hendricks pitch mix and this and that. And I'm like, listen to this SOB. I'm like, put his ass to work.
He does that MLB pickle every day. It's like the Wordle for baseball players. He's always, Dad, name a third baseman who's in the AL Central, who's left-handed hitting between 27 and 31 years old. And I go,
I have no idea. Jose Ramirez?
I don't know.
Maybe? Like,
I'd like to see him do.
not
Hitter.
from the Dominican Republic. And I go, I have no clue, Jack. I got no idea.
Have you guys seen the bit that the crew at John Boy does, where it's like a grid? It's a 3x3
Oh,
grid.
he's doing that one too.
And
Yeah.
they have 3 teams across the top, 3 teams on the
side.
vertical axis, and then you have to fill in the 3 or the 9 squares with the player that played on each of those teams.
Oh,
Right.
that's killer.
All right, New York and Seattle.
And it was an
Alex
MVP,
Rodriguez.
and you put it right in the
Oh, that's
fill
cool.
the right player in. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was great to see him. And I'd like to figure out.
I think he's excited. I would think, well, if he's listening right now, I'd be shocked because
Oh, it's 6:10 in the morning.
well,
He's
yeah,
19.
the tough part for him will be, he's 20. It's the summer.
He's 20.
He gets up about the time this show ends
Well,
for the most part.
I mean, this is
Discipline.
It's
Discipline.
It's the discipline. I mean, this beats. You just tell him, Jack. It beats working for a living. It really, really does. You were telling me he may do some help with your dad and your brother in commercial real estate. That's what my dad's background is. I'd rather be here at 6 o'clock in the morning pulling up baseball stats for Ben and Woods. That's just me.
And then be done with your day
you're
around
done,
10 a.m.
Go home and go back to bed till 4 if you need to. And I get it. 20-year-olds need their sleep. Nobody needed their sleep more than I did at 20. Probably because I hadn't slept 3 days before, but that's how that rolls. Jack was really good to see him. Good to see everybody. It was just a really lovely night. I did take off around the top of the middle of the 4th is when we left. We had Gaga watching the kids. So, wanted to relieve her of
Paul made it, about seventh inning or so?
Through the 6th.
Yeah, through the 6th. Jack wanted to stay until the very last pitch. So it was a fairly quick game. We were able to do so. It was about 8:45. I will say, though, because I still had to go back to work and do the 11 o'clock news, you like shot me out of a cannon as soon as the final out was made because I wanted to beat everybody out of the parking garage. So we were almost sprinting once the game was over to get out. And
I would have paid money to see that.
We moved quickly. I was going down those steps.
Who beats you in a race?
The water at the front.
You or Jack? Who wins the race?
I was definitely the first out the gate. I know last night it was me. I was motivated, though, to get going. I wanted to beat the traffic out. And you know what? We did. We got out of that parking garage pretty quickly and made it back in plenty of time. We got all my work done and did the 11. He stuck around, came into the studio with me for a little bit. Drove home with me. It was nice to have some company on that drive home at night, and it was a good evening. It was fun. It was nice, organized, work adjacent activity for the Ben and Woods program.
Yeah, beautiful night at the ballpark, certainly. Then you tucked in. You tucked in to sleep.
I did,
and you had a dream that you wanted to share.
I did. I had a Padres related dream, and I don't remember a ton of my dreams, but this one, for some reason, just vivid and exciting. So, Padres were playing the Angels in my dream, and it was late in the 9th inning. I don't know if it was 2 outs, but it was a critical situation. Angels had runners on. They were trailing, I think, by 1, had either bases loaded or 2 on. Shohei Ohtani is coming up to the plate. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if Josh Hader wasn't in or wasn't available. But Bob Melvin came out to make a pitching change. And he brought in to face Shohei Ohtani, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh, my God.
And if he did not strike him out on 3 pitches that were all like 103 miles per hour, it was electric. It was incredible. I want to see it now for some reason. I know it's never going to happen.
No.
I want to see that. I want to see Fernando face Ohtani, but Fernando's on the mound. Why is that? Was that a weird dream? Why would I have that dream last night?
No, I mean, that would
Did
qualify.
You slip him something?
I know. Not a damn thing. That's a sexual dream, is what that is.
It had a component.
A sexual component. Yeah.
It was a very, very exciting dream.
I bet. I bet it was. That would be a sight to see.
It was a sight to see. I'll tell you that. In my dream, it was a sight to see.
Watching the squad last night, that was a sight to see as well. Nice shutout victory for our San Diego Padres. Blake Snell. We will get into all of that today and then some. We'll look ahead also to the Seattle Mariners who are coming to town. And, again, another team very much on the same trajectory as the San Diego Padres. Broke their playoff schneid last year. Got some good young talent, some really exciting players. Another tough test for the Friars, certainly, but today's going to be a great show. The great Jesse Agler will join us at 8:35, and as he always does for the Incorporator and more. And then at 9 o'clock, I'm really excited for this one. I always love talking to BOG, Brian O'Grady, former San Diego Padre outfielder, pinch hitter, and overall great human being. And he was let go from his team in the KBO, and he's back in the States right now. And I want to get his whole experience. I know it was not a good one. I want to talk to him about that. He missed the birth of his only daughter, Mila, missed her first birthday. And I was DMing with him a few weeks ago, and he's like, it's just excruciating. Like, I'm not playing well, and I miss I go, bro, I wept at fantasy camp. I'm 5 hours away. I was weeping because I miss my family. I'm not in Korea,
it's not like he's a major league player here.
Right.
Where, you might have a 10-day road trip.
Right. But I'll be home
to come back.
Yeah. He was just in the chamber, man. So we'll talk to him about the league. He played well in Japan, played really well in Japan.
Yeah.
And and we'll talk to him about the,
You know,
the KBO.
I think it's interesting. We cover, the big league level, which is the top of the sport. Even the guys who were the last guy in the roster, making a ton of money, traveling well.
yeah, man.
And we heard good experiences from Adam Jones and Brian O'Grady about Japan. And we've heard other guys have had a good experience in Korea, but not every baseball experience is a good one. And I think it'll be interesting to hear, what went wrong for a guy in a season that didn't go well and get his, because he's always very honest and open with us. And looking forward to that conversation.
Me and you both. And the other interesting thing is he went straight from Korea to Seattle, and he stopped, and he's been at and is currently at Driveline. Now, we used to talk to Kyle Body on this show. I don't know where Kyle's been. He's been very busy, but Driveline is.
He worked for the Reds for a while,
did,
right? And
he
then
did.
he left them a few months ago.
And I'm assuming he still runs Driveline, but BOG on the way
He
over.
opened another facility in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, yeah. So he's running that one full time, but on the way over, he stopped in Seattle, and he's been working out at Driveline, trying to get locked in again because the baseball dream is not over for BOG, and he's looking to maybe find a team to latch onto. And you never know. You just never know, man. You see stories of triumph and comeback every single day. So if there's one guy we root for hard on this program, it's Brian O'Grady. So looking forward to that at 9. And then you'll get the rest of the Ben and Woods hijinks that you usually get.
It's all coming up. Daily Ditty is next. Woodsy set the theme yesterday. Bands whose most famous single, he says, is their worst song.
You bastard.
You got to
so
go deeper
many.
on the track.
So many.
Tough one. Paulie is going to pick today. I've been kind of trying to look around because I usually like those one singles from the band.
So does Paulie, the hits.
It took me a while. I found it. I mean, it's a glaring, duh.
Yeah, when you hear
choice,
it, I can't wait.
But
I can't wait.
So we'll get to that coming up next, and then talk about last night's 5-0 win over the Chicago Cubs with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check with Kelly, get our first look at traffic this Tuesday morning on 97.3 The Fan.
USOB. What a great pick this is, Paulie.
Did I pass?
Oh, with flying colors. Flying colors. Of course, that's Fountains of Wayne. The song is called Hackensack. Of course, Fountains of Wayne, known for their massive, giant, steaming turd of Stacy's Mom. Their number one hit by far. Stacy's Mom has got it going on. Horrid.
Great music video.
Horrid. Great music video. Who's in it?
Oh,
Somebody very foxy.
Stacy's
mom has got it going on. It's just
It's so
such
bad. Rachel Hunter.
Oh yes, Rachel Hunter. Whew, man. Yeah, great pick. So yeah, Paul, you nailed it. You aced the quiz.
I can tell you, I have an idea at what direction I'm going, but I'm not going to ace this exam.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing how
This
you
is going
the
to
first
be
quiz
this
you ever
is
failed.
probably the most difficult challenge I've faced on the Daily Ditty so far.
It will be the first quiz you've ever failed.
Yeah, and I'm usually good.
Not that this were like the only parameters for it, but when I went on Spotify and was looking at the stream numbers,
Right.
Fountains of Wayne, for example, being today. Hackensack is their fourth most popular song with 7.5 million streams.
Okay.
Their number one song is Stacy's Mom with over 391 million streams.
It's like
Quite a discrepancy there.
it's the Morgan Wallen of songs. Stacy's Mom. That's it. He probably covers it in concert. Let's be honest. I can see it.
Stacy's
Stacy's
Mom.
Mom. She's got it going on. It's awful. But really, really well done there, Paulie. Very
Thank
well done. All right, Ben. Switching gears.
Are we switching gears
We are
already?
switching gears.
Had a little bit of before we get to the game, had a little pregame switcheroo yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Trent Grisham was going to be in the starting lineup after we had to, if you were listening yesterday, the discussion about is it time to bench Trent Grisham? We both thought no, even though Bryce Miller and the UT said yes, it is time. Trent Grisham was supposed to be out there in center field batting ninth yesterday. Found out about 30 minutes before the game that due to back spasms, he wasn't going to be available. And they, in fact, did move Fernando Tatis Jr. over to center and played Brandon Dixon
It's amazing.
in right, which both of us said, I don't know if that's a great idea for the Padres to rely on that. They didn't have much of a choice yesterday, given that they were short at least a couple of members with Xander Bogaerts still out and then Trent Grisham out. Dixon actually made a couple of nice plays, maybe not as smooth as you'd get from Fernando Tatis Jr. out there, but made some good catches, some critical plays out in right field. Whereas Tatis actually got a bad break on his first one, probably a ball Trent Grisham would have caught
You
on
think
a blooper
so?
in the first inning.
Jack and I, your son, we were talking about it, and I go, man, that feels like no man's land right there. Rugi went out, and Fernando was charging in, maybe just a hair late on that jump, but it kind of dropped a decent amount in front of him. I'm glad he didn't lay out for it. And I mean, it's early in the game, kind of, I know how he likes to play, but he has played. I don't want to say cautious. He's played with his hair on fire out there, but he's not diving into the ground and slamming into walls and stuff. He knows that we're a better team with him on the field. So he's actually taking care of his body a little bit this year. You can see it. And I don't know. I don't know that Jim Edmonds makes that catch or it's just one of those balls. Sometimes those balls fall in no man's land.
True,
You know?
true, especially when it's a number like 3 type hitter. You're
Yeah.
expecting a swing like that to be deep, and it can fool anyone. It sounded like it was decent, and it just wasn't. It was just kind of off the end of the bat,
Yeah.
and it was not hit well there in the first inning. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. I mean, again, neither of us wanted to see Fernando Tatis Jr. moved out of the position where he has thrived so much.
Right.
I'm not mad at Bob Melvin. He didn't have a choice.
No, there's no choice.
Yes, so he doesn't have a backup center field on the roster right now. So with Trent Grisham hurt, I wonder, will they have to make a roster move if Xander Bogaerts isn't ready to go today? And he talked extensively pregame about his wrist, very candid about the ailment and what he's been going through, and we can talk more about that later. And then Trent Grisham with the back spasms. They got a very short bench right now. And while, yes, it's not the National League game and you don't necessarily need a pinch hitter for pitchers, you still don't want to go into a game with one backup catcher, essentially.
Austin Nola.
And that's about That's about it. Maybe one other guy that you can bring in to pinch run, Rivas or someone, and that's the extent of your depth right now in the big league level. If those guys aren't healthy, and that's hard to manage that, for more than a day or so if guys don't get healthy pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree, and don't know who that means. Would come up. Zokar's just down. He's not hurt, correct?
He's not. Although you can bring a guy back up if they're replacing someone who goes on the injured list.
Okay,
you can't just send them back down and up for performance reasons, but for an injured list reason, you could bring him back up. He's not hurt though.
Yeah, okay,
he's
good.
Playing at El Paso.
Okay, so good. Then he can come up. He could spell you in center field. I don't think it's a move that signifies anything other than Trent Grisham had back spasms. And I got to imagine, man, if I'm Trent Grisham, that's probably those are some ABs I wanted last night off Kyle Hendricks, who is not going to blow you away. He's not an uncomfortable at bat at all for any of those guys in the big leagues. He's a good pitcher, not to take anything away from him, Ben, but he's not a guy where you're like, oh God, Kyle Hendricks is on the. He may make you look foolish from time to time, the way he changes speeds, but you're not nervous getting in the box against him.
But do you trust the Padres at this point to get to anybody like that?
Right.
Even a lesser light sometimes is giving the Padres trouble. We will talk about it coming up in our Padres wrap up. Get the highlights from Jesse of last night's 5-0 win. Yeah, we're just alternating the good days with the bad days right now. And last night, good night for the San Diego Padres. We'll talk about it coming up next here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. And this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Off. Welcome back, 6:40 on a Tuesday morning. We all like to be right, and I'm not going to go and say I am 100% right, but a little data point in my favor.
Okay.
I remember a week or two ago I told you about how Manny Machado's teams, for good or ill, they go as Manny goes.
Yep.
And Manny has not gone very well so far this year. Health, production, it's all been down for Manny. And guess what? Padres have been a disappointment, a major disappointment.
I mean, even defense the last couple of nights before last night.
But last night, Manny had maybe his best game of the season, both offensively with 3 hits and 3 runs scored, defensively with a phenomenal play to rob Seiya Suzuki in foul territory. Just one of those classic Manny to his right plays with a throw from foul territory. And as the Padres went, Manny went last night. And it's just kind of one of those data points that you see. Now, again, a lot of star players are the catalysts for good nights for their teams. Just seems like it happens a lot with Manny Machado and his teams in particular. And a little bit of evidence last night in favor of my theory.
It's a great theory. It absolutely is. And it was so nice to see him, just get that first one out of the way. And then that play he made was kind of right in front of us. And I thought, oh, no, he can't get to that. Oh, he did. Oh, he's going to airmail this throw or something. Perfect one hop right to Crony. Huge play in the game. And, when you're playing defense behind Blake Snell too, Blake Snell will have a tendency to, he throws a lot of pitches. We know that, but he will have a tendency to unravel a little bit if plays aren't made behind him. Now that was not a routine play by any stretch of the imagination. So if Manny doesn't get to that one, you don't feel terrible about it. But my God, did he ever? Vintage Manny Machado. And it was really nice to see, like you said, watched him fight off a tough pitch, get that first knockout there, and then, putting the wood to it a little bit. Very, very nice to see. Kind of a team win. Nice to when Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis Jr. don't really do anything at all. You're still able to shut out a team and score 6 runs.
There you go. I mean, there you go. Hugely important players, Tatis and Soto, but they do nothing, and Manny does, and the Padres win.
Yeah, it's wild.
It just for some reason it's a little bit different when Manny's doing it. Let's get all the highlights from last night's game. Our Padres wrap up coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad. You guys are seeing an improvement in speeds along eastbound 905 near the border. It looks like they may have cleared that accident at the Britannia exit, so that's definitely some good news. The trip out of the South Bay looking okay. The bridge in pretty good shape heading over to the island. Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad with all new 2023 GMC CR 1500 elevation package trucks. $4,000 off MSRP. Over 15 in stock to choose from. Stop in or shop online at carlsbadbuickgmc.com, a proud member of the Premier Carlsbad family of dealers. And Kelly Danek with Denham Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You know what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Let's go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner.
This about damn time.
Manny at first, 1 out, no score in the second inning, and Sanchez lines one to deep left. Haps back, he watches, gonna go! 2-run homer, Gary Sanchez. Already his third as a Padre, and a couple of pitches after David Ross is ejected. Sanchez goes deep, and the Padres jump out 2-0. There's the 3-1 to Kim, hard hit on the ground at third. He gets through Wisdom and goes down the line. Carpenter rounding third. He's on his way. He's going to score. Kim into second. Back-to-back doubles and a 3-0 Padre lead. 2-2 to Suzuki. Snell delivers and a ground ball to third. Manny with the backhand stop from foul territory. Long throw. Got it! Going to hang a star for the captain. What a play by Manny Machado to bring the top of the third inning to a close. He is as good as it gets. ranging towards the line, ends up in foul ground, throws across the body to get Suzuki, and that's all for the Cubs in the third. Here's the pitch, and Cronenworth loops it into shallow left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Manny running all the way with 2 outs will score easily. Happ's throw goes to second base. An RBI single for Jake Cronenworth, and a 4-0 Padre lead. Now the 2-0. Carpenter swings, hits one in the air to deep center field. Morel's going back on the warning track. At the wall, reaches up, and he made the catch up against the fence. Manny will tag and score from third, and I mean by inches. Matt Carpenter just missed a grand slam. It's a sac fly, and the Padres lead at 5-0 here in the 8th. Mastroboni at first, 2 down, and the number 8 hitter, Miguel Amaya, is at the dish. First pitch swinging, hits one in the air to deep right field. That'll chase Dixon back on the warning track. He gets there to make the catch, and the ball game is over. Behind Blake Snell and Gary Sanchez, third homer as a Padre. The Pods shut out the Cubs 5-0, and they earn a split in this 4-game series against Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, look, changeup. The changeup's been a big pitch for him here recently, too. Sliders coming around, threw some pitches out there, but gave us 6, which we needed. But, it's kind of his thing. He starts getting on a roll, and, he's tough to put in play. And one of the reasons a lot of times that he throws a lot of pitches because he gets a lot of strikeouts. So he was pretty similar to the last time out.
Bob Melvin on his starter Blake Snell's performance last night. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, and
2 hits, man.
A far cry from that entire season when the changeup was in timeout. Changeup was working well last night for Blake Snell. Was the difference, I would say. Fastball command wasn't terrific. He got some calls in the first couple of innings on balls that were, as they say, arm side, just off the plate.
Frame God Gary Sanchez out there.
With all right-handed batters in the Cubs lineup, those balls that were really off the outside corner.
Take it.
He was getting those early calls and used it to his advantage to get out of a little bit of a jam in the first inning. Eventually, it became so frustrating for David Ross that he blew up there in the bottom of the second inning, and actually on a pitch that was a ball that was inside to Gary Sanchez.
It was a ball.
He erupted to Phil Cuzzy, the umpire, and the quick-tempered Cuzzy did not give him much of a leeway and ejected David Ross pretty quickly. And then 2 pitches later, as Jesse said, Gary Sanchez gave the Padres a lead they would not relinquish the rest of the game. And Andy Green became the manager at that moment as the bench coach.
Right then and there, I knew we had this dub.
He had to be thinking, 2 pitches later, home run, and goes, what is it about games I manage in this place? Here we go again. Great.
I was very happy to see David Ross ejected because I knew then I was safe to leave and the Padres would secure their victory.
I was listening to Jesse and Tony on the drive home last night, and they were talking about David Ross getting ejected earlier in the game. And I think it was when the Padres went to Chicago. Right before that, Eric Hosmer had gotten ejected in the game.
Yeah.
And they were pointing out how the Cubs home broadcast notes were a little in favor of Eric Hosmer. And they just said, rather than saying he got tossed for arguing balls and strikes, they said first baseman Eric Hosmer was ejected for taking umbrage with the strike zone.
Oh,
and
taking
Jesse
umbrage.
goes,
I like that.
I would be curious to see what the game notes say for their game tomorrow night in Anaheim.
Well, he took umbrage. He did. He had a lot of umbrage to take last night, did David
He got his
Ross.
money's worth. He was out there for a while.
He did. And Gary Sanchez, to his credit, just kind of stays locked in, waits for the next one, deposits it, hit an absolute missile. He's been awesome. Great to see. Very, very hitterish. I'm in awe of so much about him. We were talking about it last night. I was talking about it with your son as well, and Paulie and my wife, about how ready he is to hit and how on time he is. And will he flail at some pitches from time to time? Absolutely, he will. But that guy looks fearsome. He does. He looks fearsome. And when he does not catch, he should be the designated hitter.
An acquaintance of mine texted either during the game or right when it was over. So when did the Padres officially bench Nola and make Gary Sanchez the starter? And I said, oh, it's already happened.
It's happened.
It's done.
Pretty much, yeah.
Austin Nola is now officially
a backup.
Yep. And I think we actually saw that when Gary Sanchez caught Yu Darvish the other day. Nola had caught Darvish every start since
Caratini left.
Basically Caratini left. I think you're right. And the fact that Darvish was okay with it indicates that Gary Sanchez will be out there whenever he is physically able to do so. Now, Nola will still get at least a start or so a week because backup catchers usually get 1 or 2 day games after night games. Situations like that, they can't go on without a second catcher. And Nola will still have to hopefully do better than he's done. But Gary Sanchez is now the Padres starting catcher in my mind.
Really interesting note here in Kevin Acey's daily newsletter talking about the dynamic between Blake Snell and Gary Sanchez. Quote, Snell appreciated the way Sanchez received his pitches, noting he might have helped him get a couple of strike calls. He even had Sanchez call a larger portion of the pitches than the other Padres starting catchers who've worked with him since he was claimed off waivers on May 29th. He had hit Blake Snell very well in his career. He
talked about that. It was in New York.
Yeah.
Last start, I think, too. Yeah.
And he said he's hit more home runs off of Snell. No batter has hit more home runs off Snell than the 5 Sanchez did as a member of the Yankees. He also has a double and 8 walks in his 29 plate appearances against me. He said he's the man. That's the only thing I kept laughing about in the dugout. I was like, we're going to be really good together, especially with how well he hits me. He sees my pitches well. And for him to call it behind the plate, it's very comforting that he's not hitting. I love this, man. I think it's been a great move. I want to ride this thing as long as we can. Hopefully for another 2 years until Ethan Salas is ready to come up. But talk about a guy, Ben, that, Scan was talking to him in the postgame last night. And it's, seemingly he's excited to be here. Kind of sometimes you realize, man, this could be my last stop for a while. So let's make the most of it. And he really has.
Don't want to read too much into it, but when Blake finished his 6 innings and he was over, I think, 100 pitches at that point. So he was done getting the congratulations in the dugout. He was giving, fist bumps, and guys were giving him the pats on the back as he was walking in. Got to Gary Sanchez, kind of went for the fist bump, and Gary,
bring it in.
Came in, bring it in with a big hug.
Bring it in for the real thing.
I like to see that. And by the way, credit to Blake Snell as well. Threw a ton of pitches in those first couple of
48,
innings.
man.
Padres were not going to be able to really pull Blake Snell early in this game after they had to use Domingo Tapia and Drew Carlton for 6 1/3 innings the day before. There was no long relief available. They didn't make a roster move before the game. I heard Nabil Krismat was there, but he wasn't activated. So they were relying on Blake Snell. A minimum 5, hopefully, 6 or more. And they got those 6, even though the first couple innings looked a little dicey as to whether Blake would make it deep into the game because of that pitch count rising so quickly. But after, 2 innings where he threw a ton of pitches, he got a little more efficient and was able to get through the next 4 and still keep the Cubs off the scoreboard. So very nice job by Blake Snell last night.
Yeah,
it's weird when I saw his pitch count in like the 3rd inning was at 64 or whatever. I'm like, he walked like 4 guys and I just wasn't paying attention. And I think he only had 2 at the time.
They were hacking. They were fouled off a ton of pitches. Yeah, and Matt Carpenter, I feel terrible for that ball. If I'm Manny Machado, I'm standing on home plate with my helmet off, ready to give him, a big bro hug for hitting a grand slam. I'm amazed, man.
That's a June gloom marine layer after sunset. The only thing that keeps that ball in the yard was a 930 expected batting average and a home run in at least 13 other parks. And I think definitely at Petco Park, any time before about 7 p.m., that one's definitely gone for Matt Carpenter. At least he got a sacrifice fly out of it.
Yeah, drove it around.
He had a nice double down the line.
Yeah, he did. Really, really. Hey, look, man, last night was a very well-played game, well-executed game. You saw great defense. You saw timely hitting from Jake Cronenworth, driving in a run, getting a knock finally. That feels good for him. And you saw your starting pitcher struggle a little bit. I mean, just, again, didn't surrender any runs, but you saw him able to lock it in. 48 pitches to start the first 2 innings, and then 42, to really dial it in and give you a little bit of length last night. So it was great. It was a great, great dub. And I think it might be the first one I've seen in person this year. If I really think about it, that might be the first one.
One debate that popped up in the Odyssey suite with our colleagues Chris Ello and Coach John Quintera there, the hit by Ha-Sung Kim that brought home the 3rd run, whether that should have been ruled an error or a double. Patrick Wisdom did not make a very good play on it.
Tried to backhand it, Roger Dorn style.
Ultimately nowadays that usually ends up being a hit. It was called an error briefly, and then they switched it to a double an inning later, I think. I don't know. I mean, was it a good play? No. Would Manny make that play in his sleep?
Yes.
Yes.
He didn't touch it, so I'm giving him a nod.
It might have hit off his foot at some point. He
I
didn't
don't
touch it
think
with
he
his
did.
glove.
He never got glove
so
on it. I'm giving him a nod.
It's, I don't know what's the harm.
It's a hometown discount, bro. Our hometown scoreboard. I don't care.
The only person it hurts really is Kyle Hendricks,
Yeah.
who may get one more earned run on his total over the course of the season. I doubt it's going to make a huge difference, but Kim gets the RBI double. Wisdom doesn't get the error. I'm fine with it at this point.
Yeah, give our beloved Hassan
Not
Kim
a big
an
deal.
RBI double.
All right, we are done with the first hour. We will come back, play some Take on Woods. I want to talk more about Xander Bogaerts' injury and comments before the game as well. Get to that coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on Ben Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall Chevrolet Find New Roads. Jesse Agler next hour. Brian O'Grady back from Korea will join us at 9 o'clock this morning. That is coming up in the second half of the program. We got Take on Woods momentarily. You want to call in 833-288-0973. Play our musical trivia game. Look for our first qualifier for a getaway to Vegas in the month of June coming up in just a couple of minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Xander Bogaerts and the wrist, though. He was pretty candid yesterday before the game with one kind of exception, a little bit of cloak and dagger element to the Xander Bogaerts wrist treatment.
Welcome to the Padres.
But for the most part, he stood in front of his locker, had the horde of media pregame, and was asked about a wrist injury that kept him out for a second straight day yesterday. Still no injured list stint, but here's what he had to say about basically dealing with the wrist injury and what the next course of action may be.
How's the wrist feeling today? And I know you have some things you can do to hopefully feel better. Is it getting there?
Hopefully tomorrow. Can't go today.
Can't go today. So when it's been like this in the past and you've been able to resolve it in season, how has that process gone and how have you been able to do
Easy. Cortisone shot 2 days and ready to go.
That? Is that what this will take? And
not a cortisone, but I mean there's other options that you can do, but not a cortisone. Because they said can't do that because I already have one in spring, so that's kind of like it's kind of been the part that sucks, because I mean all I know about is a cortisone, right? So not being able to do it is a little frustrating, but we obviously got some other options and took care of it.
You had the cortisone in spring training. It's surprising that it came back, given your experience with that being successful.
A little bit, but all the time that I've had cortisone shots in season, it's 99% of the time I got hit by a ball. So, I mean, I would say it's probably has something to do with it, but not that it acted up at the moment, but there's nothing else that I did that could have probably like cleared it up or anything like that. That's the only thing that if I would have to say dealing with it experiences it's a hit by pitch. Most of the time it's been 100-mile-per-hour hit by pitch. I had a guy from the Phillies twice. Dominguez hit me and it's pretty hard. So yeah, I mean that's what it is.
All right, so clearly there was some frustration on the part of Xander Bogaerts, who has dealt with this for apparently the last 7 years. And he gets a cortisone shot, works for a few months, then gets another one, gets through the season, and it's fine. But occasionally, as he said, when he gets hit by a pitch, especially one that goes 100 miles an hour, it comes back faster, and that can be a problem. And that's what happened to him a few weeks ago. He got off to that hot start, and I think then at the end of April, he took a pitch from Spencer Strider, hit them in that wrist.
That'll do it.
And since then, his numbers have been in the tank. They've been terrible. He's was hitting like 378. It's like 200 since then.
Yep.
Quite the drop off. But as he also expressed frustration with, Padres medical staff is not comfortable giving him another cortisone shot. Yet doctors say it is not, safe to do so soon after another cortisone shot, and he's got to wait. So he said, take care of it. He doesn't really know. And I think we can all empathize with Xander Bogaerts here. You have any kind of aches and pains. Woods, you have things you do to treat whatever is ailing you, whether it's an ice or, I've got my CBD cream now.
Yeah,
and it works. You get comfortable with it. That's what you like to do. That doesn't mean there aren't other possible treatments for something. And it sounds like the Padres medical and training staff have been trying to convince Xander Bogaerts.
Try something else.
Cortisone isn't the only thing you can do for your wrist. Let's try this. And I don't know what therapy it might be. He wouldn't say. That was kind of the more secretive element of it. But it sounds like he did something maybe on that first day, 2 days ago when he was not playing that is supposed to help his wrist at least get through until, a couple of months when he can get another cortisone shot. And we'll see. He was hoping, he said, to be back in the lineup tonight against the Seattle Mariners if whatever alternative treatment he went with was effective. But we all understand, you want to go with what has helped you in the past. You don't want to try something unproven, unknown, how you're going to respond to it. And I feel like that's what Xander Bogaerts is going through right now.
Did they just hand them out willy-nilly in Boston? Is that what I am to understand? Reading like, Xander, come get a cortisone shot. Like whenever he wanted one, did he get one in Boston? Is that part of the reason why his wrist is
It sounds like yes. Now, it's possible that he didn't ever need one until after, enough time had passed, so it wasn't as much of an issue.
Well, it sounds like this sounds to me, he's a veteran, been in the league 7-8 years. Sounds like, for me, he's incredulous that I know what works. They're not giving it to me. Therefore, I can't be back to where I need to be. Whereas what I can glean from that is when in Boston, I was hurt, I would get cortisone shots all the time. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but he knows his body and knows, this is what the plan of attack was, at least in Boston. I would be hurt, I'd get a cortisone shot, and I would be good to go. So were they handing them out willy-nilly there? Sounds like maybe.
I don't know, but it's hard to criticize the Padres for being, responsible with a player's long-term health potentially and not wanting to do something that could cause damage to a player, even if the player says, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take the risk. Padres are saying, we'd love to have you healthy and producing. Obviously, we're paying you a lot of money, but you know what? We have an ethical responsibility as well to your health and our players, and we're not going to do something that we don't feel is the proper course of treatment for you.
Right. Which again, it sounds like before when he was in Boston, when he needed one, he got one.
I mean,
so
if this was the NFL, and we're going to play Take on Woods here in just a second, 833-288-0973. If this was the NFL, guys get pain injections week by week, Toradol, whatever.
Yep.
Not necessarily good for their long-term health to go out and play on, a torn ACL. But hey,
they're like, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We need you out there. This is a little more of a long-term, more responsible decision. The easy thing would be, hey, Xander, the risks. You still want it? All right, we'll give it to you. We need you performing right now. We can't let this season fall apart any further.
Yeah,
let's just give it to you, and we'll figure it out later. Maybe he'll be fine. There's no guarantee that it's going to do anything bad for him. He could have the shot and be absolutely fine. They are going with an abundance of caution. They don't want to give it to him.
JR says the NFL doesn't hand out 10-year contracts. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's they get you dialed in and they get you ready by any means necessary to play on Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday or Monday in the NFL, and then you go, and then you got a few days off to try to recover. But no, I think, and I said yesterday, like, I don't know. I didn't know the long-term effects of cortisone. I think maybe now we're seeing some of the long-term effects of cortisone based on maybe his time in Boston.
All right, quickly, before we get to Take on Woods, enormous breaking news in the world of golf.
Oh, wow.
The PGA Tour has agreed to merge with Saudi-backed rival Live Golf in a deal that would see the competitors squash pending litigation and move forward as a larger golf enterprise. So after 2 years of unrelenting war, somehow the PGA Tour and Live have made peace. Now, what is this going to look like? This is CNBC that is just reporting this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, are there going to be Live tournaments added to the PGA Tour schedule? Are all the guys on Live going right back to the PGA Tour, and we'll see them in events the rest of this year? I don't know all the details yet, but one of the biggest stories in sports is from the golf world, and it is happening right now.
Damn.
PGA Tour and Live Golf agree to a merger. And I don't know how I feel.
They're going to call it the Live GA is the new name.
Honestly,
of it. The PG
I'll have to
Live.
see some details on this. I don't know how I feel about it. Obviously, I'm glad to see guys like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson,
back.
Hopefully competing back against the PGA Tour players on what I think is the best tour. Not all that comfortable though with Saudi feeling like they've won anything here, or the influence of the Saudis coming onto the PGA Tour. They're going to be more events in Australia and all over the world that I can't watch in the middle of the night. I certainly hope that we're not going to shotgun starts and 3-round tournaments on the PGA Tour. Yeah, shorts and team golf and music on the fairways. So we'll see. The devil is in the details on this merger. My guess is because all the early court rulings have been in favor of the PGA Tour so far, that they had more leverage and have dictated more of the terms of how this works out. But we will see. But that's obviously a story to continue to follow. Breaking news on 97.3 The Fan, presented by BetQL. Smarter bets start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit betql.com today. Wow. I was not expecting that this morning.
Nor was I.
With the U.S. Open is next week, so they'll all be back together again anyway up at LA Country Club in Los Angeles. Big story in the world of golf. All right, let's get to today's game of Take On Woods. All right, got a new prize this month. Trying to qualify our first Tier 1 for a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Luke Bryan, the Entertainer of the Year, 5 times over, headlining at Resorts World Theater. Party continues with shows from August 30th to September 9th. Tickets and VIP packages are on sale now at axs.com. That's AXS.com and rwlasvegas.com. Albert, congratulations. You are our contestant this morning. How are you doing?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. I think you know how the game works, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're going to go first, then Woods will come in, and same 5 questions, and we'll see how you do. Compare and contrast. You got to beat or tie him. Here are your categories. Bring back the butcher's knife, songs and questions about a meat, musical meat. In the dark, musical answers, including the word dark, and our new category, 80s movie titles. Songs that share a title with a 1980s movie classic. So, of those 3, the butcher's knife, In the Dark, or 80s movie titles, what would you like to play?
You know what? I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to go with 80s.
All right, go with the new category today, 80s movie titles. Again, we are looking for 5 songs that share a title with a 1980s movie classic. Now, maybe it was from the movie, maybe it was not, but keep that in mind as we get ready to play. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, go ahead and pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question is our 2-second song. Paulie will play a snippet of a well-known song. You need to give me the title, which includes that movie title, and the artist to score the point. Albert, you ready to play?
Let's do this.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Woods is in his isolation booth. Your time begins when Paul plays the music and 80s movie titles. Good luck, Albert. Let's take on Woods.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand?
You just cut out. What was the name of the song?
That's Weird Science by Boingo Boingo.
Correct. Irene Cara both sings the theme song and stars in which movie about performing arts high school students in New York?
Easy Money. Fame.
Correct. British singer John Parr is responsible for which song from a Brat Pack movie about a group of recent Georgetown grads in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, my goodness.
The title of a 1989 Morgan Freeman movie about a real-life high school principal borrows from which Bill Withers hit?
Oh, that's not Stand and Deliver. Lean on Me.
Correct. John Hughes used a 1981 Psychedelic Furs song title for which 1986 Brat Pack movie?
Love My Way.
Incorrect. British singer John Parr is responsible for which song from a Brat Pack movie about a group of recent Georgetown grads in Washington, D.C.? Oh, that's St. Elmo's Fire. And Pretty in Pink was the other John Hughes movie you missed. 3 is a good score, but
good.
Don't think it's going to be enough.
This is kind of
Woods.
right up in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, you got
here.
Weird Science fame and Lean on Me. Let's get Woods back in here. We'll see. He doesn't get the category. Don't know if he needs it on this one or not. We'll see. All right, 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Albert.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand?
It's Weird Science by Oingo Boingo.
Correct. Irene Cara both sings the theme song and stars in which movie?
Flashdance.
Incorrect. British singer John Parr is responsible for which song from a Brat Pack movie about a group of recent Georgetown grads in Washington, D.C.?
St. Elmo's Fire.
Correct. The title of a 1989 Morgan Freeman movie about a real-life high school principal borrows from which Bill Withers hit?
Lean on Lean on Me.
Correct. John Hughes used a 1981 psychedelic Furs song title for which 1986 Brat Pack movie?
Pretty in Pink.
Oh, and that's the winner, 4-3 after you missed Fame.
Fame, damn it.
And said Flashdance instead. They were similar, but 4-3, just a narrow victory
Ooh, what
over
a
Albert
category.
today.
I love that.
In 80s movie titles.
Love that one. Which ones did he miss?
He missed both the John Hughes ones, St. Elmo's Fire and Pretty in Pink. He almost said Stand and Deliver as well, which was
I said Lean.
You started, then he changed.
And then I said
Stand.
I was going to say Stand by Me.
Oh, you were going to say
But,
Stand by Me. He almost said Stand and Deliver, but he
Lean
switched to
on
Lean
Me.
on Me. And
I like that movie with Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good ass movie.
I liked Weird Science. That movie.
I love Weird Science.
That's a good one.
I can't even do any lines from it because they're all they're all like you can't say
a little problematic.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
problematic.
in the 80s, some of those movies are definitely not kosher today for sure.
If you get the chance, shower with them. It's a mind scramble. Kelly LeBron. You know who she married, by the way?
No.
Steven Seagal.
Oh, wow.
Good Lord. Good Lord. God, what a beautiful, beautiful angel.
What was the brother's name?
Chet.
Chet. Chet.
Now why don't you pick yourself one? D-Weed.
Bully brother Chet.
Movie's amazing. Paul, you ever seen Weird Science?
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
It's been a long time. But
I mean, it's so. If you went back and watched it now, you'd be like, "What
It's
was
pretty-
I? What was
it's
I?
pretty
thinking?
silly.
I
It's
think I watched it when I was
very
younger
silly.
and I didn't really know much better. But yeah, watching that, go watch it today.
Definitely had the idea of being able to create a woman on my computer, the ideal woman on my computer.
All right,
It's weird. You can do that now.
We got Don't Do This coming up next. Actually, I have my second straight golf related Do This.
Perfect.
Something I saw yesterday from Victor Hovland. That's coming
This
up
is
next.
pretty cool. Yeah, that is
with,
very, very cool.
Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this.
Do not tweet that.
With Ben and Woods.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
On 97.3 The Fan.
Live coverage of every Padres game on 97.3 The Fan is available through the Odyssey app wherever you are in the San Diego area. Listen to every pitch of the Padres on Odyssey. Just download the free Odyssey app and search 97.3 The Fan to get started. Time for Don't Do This. Couple of stories, cringeworthy, and then something uplifting to wrap it up. I will start in the NFL, where this seems like we're getting headlines every other week about this particular topic. The NFL is investigating Indianapolis Colts cornerback and kick returner Isaiah Rodgers for possible violations of the league's gambling policy.
Oh, boy.
Team acknowledged the inquiry yesterday. They're aware of the investigation. They are not commenting. Rodgers said, commenting. He is.
What is commenting?
He's taking full responsibility for his actions. Now, what exactly are those actions? According to reports, a sportsbook online account was opened under the name of an associate of his, someone he knows. Approximately 100 bets were placed on the account, including on Colts games.
Oh, boy.
Now, most of the bets were in the $25 to $50 range.
Small-time play.
There were some larger ones, over 100, even one low 4-figure bet. We're not talking earth-shattering kinds of, wagers, but any wager is against the rules in the NFL. Guys making $3.4 million contract.
What?
Over 4 years. It's just, it's not, he shouldn't be risking their livelihood over $25 bets.
Also, how do you get caught, by the way?
That's a good question.
All right. So let's say, Ben, I'm an NFL kick returner, which would be the funniest thing of all time. Hey, man, open up an account and I'll just gamble for me because I can't gamble. Sound good? Anything you win, we'll split or whatever, and I'll cover the losses. Good? Cool. All right. See you later. Let me know how it goes. How does that even happen?
Not sure. There
Loose
was
lips, maybe?
An original report by sportshandle.com cited the investigation into a Colts player's pervasive betting. This comes after, in April, the NFL suspended 5 players, including 4 Detroit Lions, for gambling policy violations, as well as 1 player from the Washington Commanders. So, and then Calvin Ridley was suspended the entire last season for betting on NFL games while he was away from the team, like on injury. So, it's becoming more common as gambling on phones becomes more common. Surprise, surprise, it's becoming more common that professional athletes are doing it in their off time.
That suspension, again, brought to you by BetMGM. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Remember Samantha Rivera? She worked here in town for a while. I believe she worked over at Fox 5, right, Paulie?
Yes.
Yeah, so she used to cover Seals games. She was all around town. She ended up moving out to Miami to get a job out there. Now she has gone viral. She was a kind of a features reporter here, and now she's covering sports in Miami, and she's all over the internet this morning because of her very effective stiff arm that she laid on a Golden Knights fan at the Stanley Cup Finals. Here's the audio, and you can hear a drunken Las Vegasite. What do they call them? Las Vegan.
I think it's a Las Vegas.
A Las Vegan. Try to get into her live shot. Ben, you can relate to this as well.
But let's begin live in Las Vegas with Samantha Rivera for more on tonight's game. Samantha?
Yeah, so a very loud crowd here at T-Mobile Arena. Obviously, Vegas fans enjoying the less than ideal night for the Panthers after falling to the Knights. Let's get into the highlights.
No, and just bam, right to the chest, stiff arms. That fan.
I mean, like Walter Payton.
Like literally, just like boom. You really never
bigger,
see
much
his
bigger guy.
No.
Just barely gets into the frame at all. She knocks him back.
So she tweeted, Panthers lost another rough one tonight, but let this serve as a reminder to back the hell off when I'm working and respect that I'm doing my job. Excited to get back home to some classy bomb Panthers fans for game 3. In a separate post on Twitter, she wrote, listen, I don't give a damn what team you're rooting for. Get the hell out of my face when I'm working and respect that I'm here to do my job.
Oh, yeah.
Man, she dropped the hammer on. And she did a really, really nice job. And she's in the New York Post this morning for stiff arming this drunken Las Vegas site.
Vegan.
Las Vegan. Yeah, they won't stop talking about how great it is. Las Vegas.
All right, finally.
Did you know they're from Las Vegas?
No, they're about to tell you.
Finally, do this. And
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
as we're following the big golf news, the merger between the PGA Tour and Live Golf that was announced just minutes ago. Got another golf story for you. Love to see this. So Victor Hovland, of course, won the Memorial on Sunday evening in Columbus, Ohio, in a playoff. $3.6 million first place check.
Stressful, right? The playoff.
Yeah, figure it's got a major next week. So you're going to take this week off and get ready to head to LA Country Club, try to win his first major title. But not before. He spent all of yesterday, carrying a bag, 36 holes for his buddy Zach, his former teammate at Oklahoma State, who was trying to qualify for the U.S. Open in Columbus. I guess they had dinner on Saturday because Zach was there for the qualifier.
Yep.
And Victor was there playing in the Memorial. And, Zach was just planning to carry his own bag, didn't have a caddy. And Victor says, I'll do it for you. And he goes, really? He goes,
you're in the final, you have a match to win tomorrow.
Yeah, but he said, after I'm done, I will come, and on Monday I will carry your bag. I will walk it around for 36 holes. And he did just that. Carried the bag around for his teammate. I don't think Zach qualified for the U.S. Open.
That's a bummer.
Shot a 70 in the first round, but then a 76 in the second round, and didn't make it. But Victor was there every step of the way.
That's
and
pretty cool.
They say he's a pretty cool guy. Was good teammate. Down to earth fellow. I'm always impressed. He's from Norway. He speaks the English he speaks. It's
very good.
He's got a bit of a southern accent from going to Oklahoma State, but
it's an odd mix.
Other than that, you really wouldn't think he's not a native speaker. He's that fluent, that easygoing. Seems like a really good guy, and just showed it again yesterday by carrying that bag around. Long day.
I can't imagine how exhausted you are after winning a 4-day golf tournament.
I saw yesterday San Diego's Charlie Hoffman was in the qualifier because he's not eligible for the U.S. Open. So he played in the qualifier up at Hillcrest Country Club in L.A. 9 under over 2 rounds. Woo! Only got him into a playoff this morning for the final spots. He goes, you know what? That 36 holes, that's at 47 years old. That's not easy anymore to go and do that. So good luck to Charlie this morning as he tries to secure one of those last spots in the U.S. Open.
That's amazing.
Next week.
That's amazing. Yeah. Good for him.
And that's Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. The snarky part of me, as I said yesterday, almost tweeted at the end of the game, final. Padres lose tomorrow.
It feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy these days. It's win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
What's it going to take to get the Padres out of this pattern? They got the win. Now they need to string some together. Give us your thoughts. 833-288-0973. Our phone lines are open right now. Padres fans, we want to hear from you this morning. 833-288-0973. This is the best time to get in because we got Jesse Agler, Brian O'Grady coming up in the second half of the show. So call us now. We'll talk some more Padres baseball. Also, the drama that turned out to be a much ado about nothing pregame yesterday at Petco Park, and a little closed door, kick the media out of the locker room session. We'll let you know what happened if you haven't seen that next on Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Still trying to make some heads or tails out of this PGA Tour Live announcement, the merger. Apparently, they're going to study ways to reintegrate the players back onto the PGA Tour. They're going to add some sort of team golf component to the PGA Tour.
Here we go.
It's
Jeez.
coming. And I think one really good question is, after spending the last year and a half basically talking about Saudi human rights violations, and at least the people who said, hey, we'll never get in bed with the Saudi Arabian government, that's why I'm not going to live and I'm staying on the PGA Tour. Well, now how do you justify working and taking money, including a big flow of investment from the Saudi, that investment fund from Saudi Arabia?
It's a very complicated web that they're weaving here in the world of golf. The PGA could have just gone on. As it was.
I don't know that they could have afforded to continue. They ramped up those purses, but they were like dipping into the credit cards essentially to try to keep up with Live. And I think they may say, well, I mean, for the survival of our tour, we kind of needed to do this because we couldn't compete with the endless bankroll that we were going up against. So this was our only way going forward. That would be my guess, is what they're going to say. We'll see how I'm sure we'll have weeks now to figure out how the details shake out. We got a lot of Padres callers on the line, though. 833-288-0973. Going to get to those after traffic, but I wanted to mention the pregame yesterday. There were a couple of tweets that came out from local media hearing about maybe a closed door meeting in the clubhouse at about 2:20. They were going to have usually the open media period, but they kicked out, reporters like our friend Annie Heilbrunn. And everyone was going, is, someone getting together again to air out everybody and saying we need to play better after the loss. And the speculation started going quickly over social media. Then they started hearing music coming out of the locker room and seeing little American flags and God Bless the USA and what Party in the USA by, who's that, Miley Cyrus that was playing. So they opened the doors and everyone found out. No, it was nothing like an airing out of the grievances. They were celebrating.
They were airing the grievances out in America is what they were doing.
No, they were celebrating bullpen catcher Alberto Andrade.
That's awesome.
Who got his U.S. citizenship officially, and they were congratulating him and having a little ceremony before the game just for the coaches and players and Alberto, which is great. That's terrific.
Very cool.
Yeah. So no big deal. Everyone who goes, who's getting chewed out behind closed doors. It was nothing like that. But all right, let's check traffic, and then we'll hit some of these phone calls from Padres fans here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, trying to figure out, okay, now that the Padres played well again, how can they do it consistently? What's it going to take? Is it simply enough for Manny Machado? If Manny Machado starts to get hot, and he looked as good as we've seen him all season last night, is that enough to carry the Padres to a winning streak?
Do you have that nugget handy that you read
I just
earlier?
saw that. Yeah, Kevin Acee had followed up on, that the stat that I kind of had, or at least the impression that I had, that Manny drives his teams, whether it's the Orioles or the Padres. And he kind of agreed. He said, since Manny Machado joined the Padres in 2019, when he gets multiple hits, 2 or more in a game, Padres are 37 games over 500.
That's crazy.
I doubt that holds true with any of the other players on the roster.
Right.
When he does not get multiple hits in a game, so 1 hit or no hits or doesn't play, Padres are 37 games below 500.
It's bananas.
They're exactly 500 since the start of the 2019 season.
Crazy.
And as Manny goes, so go the Padres.
Wild, man.
Yeah. All right, let's get out to these phone lines. Let's start at the top of our board. We got Jed first up here on a Tuesday morning on 97.3 The Fan. Hello, Jed.
Hey, good morning, boys. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what, the Padres sure make your guys' job tough.
They do. Yeah.
But I just wanted to say one thing. We've been saying the Padres need a little bit of a stretch to get on top of 500, get back over 500. And I think these next 5 games are the stretch we've been looking for. Records are obviously about the same, but the Padres are a much better ball club. So I truthfully think Padres come home next week over 500 and never look back.
I like that. I like that enthusiasm. This is crazy. I went and pulled up the schedule. So first game of the Marlins, 1. So they've gone since that first game of the Marlins. 1 loss, 1 loss, 1 loss, 1.
Oh my God.
I mean,
more than that, Paul. What was the offense on alternating days? Start with.
I'm going back. This is the last 7 games. And
yeah, that's
their run totals.
Okay.
9 runs in a win, 1 run in a loss. 10 runs in a win, 1 run in a loss. 6 runs in a win, 1 run in a loss, and last night 5 runs in a dominating win.
I think I said 6 earlier. Yeah.
So
5,
I mean,
nothing.
if you're a believer in patterns,
you ever play?
Padres are going to score 1 run and lose tonight.
You
right?
ever play roulette? Like you look at the stupid wheel and you're like, red, black, red, black, red, black, and then you just like red, 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 red. You're like, do I bet red here? Or do I bet black here? Because they've already had 4 reds in a row.
Even though we all know past performance has no effect on future events, especially in roulette. But it feels
Should
like
I bet
it does.
double zeros? Should I bet the green random thing that nobody
Feels
ever
like
bets?
it does.
Oh my God! What win loss? Win
So just
loss,
getting 2
win,
runs
loss,
tonight,
win, loss.
and that's a win. That's an improvement for the Padres. They just get 2 tonight.
Sounds like a $10 bet to me, Benjamin.
I'm driving home from the game on Saturday night. Big win. Texted you guys, man, that was fun. It was fun tonight.
Yeah.
And Ben's reply was, yeah, perfect timing.
Set up for a 1-run or
1-run loss.
1-run loss tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you gotta find a way. When he said they make your job tougher, we were kind of talking about that in the suite last night for our celebration night, and it's a weird. It is the definition of a roller coaster. You know, win 1, yay, lose 1, win 1, and I mean this is like the longest, loopiest roller coaster you've been on. Here's your alternatives. Your alternative is to completely slide off of a cliff and, trade everybody at the deadline, or go on some, 6, 7, 8, 9 game winning streak and start to.
I mean, in a way, it makes our job almost easier. It gives us something to talk about every single day. It's not, hey, they're playing great. Same old story every single day. What's new? Nothing. Well, all right, we still have 4 hours to fill. So in that sense, yeah, we got something new to talk about every day. What makes it tougher for me, though, is that you feel like an idiot like every day.
Yeah, you do.
You have the good day where everything looks good, and you reasonably conclude, all right, the Padres have moved things in the right direction. The offense is coming around, getting solid pitching performances, great defense, just looked like an all-around team win. That looks like a team that's playing together and everybody's on the same page. And then the next day, they look sloppy. The offense is terrible, or, a guy like Ryan Weathers gets shelled, and you go, this team doesn't look like a playoff team. They look like you got major culture problems.
Let's blow it up.
This is a disaster. And then you come back the next day and you go, yeah, everything seems right with this team.
It's
and
so frustrating.
Organization, everything's good. And then the next day it's, team meeting time. Do they need to turn over some tables? What's going wrong? You just sound like an idiot
You do,
when you come
every
back
day.
every other day with a different take on your baseball team.
And I'm telling you, if they go out and they lose, 4-1 tonight to Logan Gilbert and the Mariners, I'm going to lay in bed and my head will spin with, what kind of BS do I go and spew tomorrow about this? Trust me. And I told Coach Quintera's wife, because she said the same thing. She goes, you should hear him every night. He says, all right, this is the night. They finally turn the coin. And then the next day, it's this team's 10. And I go, Kelly, we have done, all of us collectively have done the same show, essentially 30 times this year. And I said, it is a bit frustrating. Everyone's a little tired of it. You need to pick a side. Are you winners or are you losers? Enough of this being in the middle garbage. Are you guys want to win? You want to lose? Are you winners? Are you a winning team? You're a losing team. Make a decision. We'll be able to adapt either way. If it's a losing team that you are, man, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Pretty good radio, though.
Something that I can say consistently, though, because I said it yesterday and I still believe it today. Friday's loss was still a killer because the difference is you win Friday's game, you just took 3 out of 4.
Correct.
You have momentum. You're 2 games under 500. Everything feels good. You're moving in the right direction. That was the killer game of the series.
Brutal.
Was Friday night's series opener. You had to have that one.
That was
every other game kind of played out as you'd expect.
Yeah.
You know what? Padres won the games they should have. The Cubs won the game they should have.
With Stroman on the
getting
bump.
Stroman against Weathers.
Yep.
It was Friday's game that should have been a Padres win that they let go. And instead of 3 out of 4, it's 2-2. It's not a disaster.
Nope.
But it's not where they need to be. It's not making progress. And it's because of Friday. Can't talk about Friday night game forever. But honestly, that was the only thing in that series that was really to complain about if you're a Padres fan.
No question about it. Yeah, I said it yesterday. You do not, if you lose to Marcus Stroman, who's one of the hottest pitchers in baseball right now, you don't beat yourself up about that. Yeah, you want to beat him, but you know what? It happens.
You want Weathers to be better. It was a bad inning and a half, and that was it. And then the bullpen was good, but
man, Friday night was brutal. Yeah. But you got to turn the page. You got to move forward. You got to figure out a way to beat a pretty good pitcher tonight in Logan Gilbert.
833-288-0973. Jed, thank you for the call. Let's try Marco. You are next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Marco.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing today?
Doing well, man.
Hey, so first of all, I want to say happy birthday to my brother, Panda. He's the one who put me on you guys. Today's his birthday, so I thought it would be fair that I wish him happy birthday because I know he's listening.
Thank you, Panda, and happy birthday, Panda. And
thanks for putting Marco on us.
And thanks for, listening to your brother, because so many of us don't. So I appreciate that.
For sure. Well, honestly, I think it's a beautiful thing that we're having these problems in San Diego. It's been a long time since we've had these issues. I don't think that we should start freaking out yet. It's definitely really early in the season. I think we're going to turn it around. There's no way about it. There's so much baseball to play. I just hate that everybody at one point was trying to fire everybody. Now they're trying to hire everybody. I know we're in a roller coaster, but guys, it's a long season. Let's get through the All-Star break, and then we'll start thinking about firing people. But right now, buckle up, because that's what it takes to win a championship.
Yeah, you got to have the lows, man.
I agree and disagree, Marco. I agree that there's no cause to panic yet, and it's not time to fire everybody. I disagree that it's early. That was the 60th game of the season. That's a significant chunk of the season.
There are
102 games left.
Season.
102 games left, but yeah, that was the entire 2022 season.
That's
2020
the whole
season.
Tell me that championship's real again.
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, so that's a significant chunk of the year that we've seen with the Padres playing well below what we expected. Now, they are still well within striking distance of what they want to accomplish this year. So that's the reason for no panic, but I'm not going to call it early anymore.
No, I mean, it's 102 to play. Is that right?
102
to play. It's a lot. It's a lot of games. A lot can happen.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, count to 102 on the air. See how long it takes.
Let's not do that.
Let's do it.
Let's not do that.
Come on.
No.
Why?
Because that doesn't really prove anything.
But you said there's not much time left.
I didn't say that. I said it's not early. I said there's still a lot of games.
Count
left.
to 102.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23,
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50.
You're halfway. 51. Now you're halfway.
52, 53, 54.
Hold on.
55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60.
Stop. 60. Didn't that feel like quite a good chunk, though, of the season? That was a good chunk to get to 60 right there.
You have
61,
that chunk
now
plus 42.
64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. All right, we can stop.
I knew you wouldn't make it. Woods is dedicated. Anyone who would listen to a 19-minute Bob Dylan song will count to 102 on the radio.
86, 87,
88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97,
98,
99,
99, 100, 100,
102.
It's a long time.
Did you enjoy the count on Sesame Street when you were growing up?
Well, not much.
That leaves us only time this hour. We're going to take another phone call instead. All I can tell you is this hour on the fan is brought to you by Big O Tires. Summer's coming. You may be ready, but what about your vehicle? Our friends at Big O Tires can help. Right now, get a full synthetic oil and filter change to $69.99 for your nearest neighborhood Big O Tires location. Visit bigotires.com. Also, all guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Summer is the best of times and the worst of times in San Diego. The fair opens tomorrow.
Is it the best or is it the worst? I love fair
Coming back
talk.
with more on the fan.
We will, in fact, do the show. We are halfway home on a Tuesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for joining us. Very happy to have you. We're very happy to be here. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. And your friendly neighborhood sports anchor himself, Benjamin R. Higgins, joins us. And as the only born and raised San Diegan here in the room, Ben, I know it's a huge accomplishment. You have grown up. It was the Del Mar Fair.
Yes.
When you were coming up in your formative years.
Tradition every year, go with the family.
How many times?
Del Mar Fair. Once a year. Just once.
That was it.
Just once.
One and done.
No, one and done.
Never twice.
We'd always start by going through the animal exhibits and, see the sheep
and the goats.
Yeah. Walk through, smell the manure.
Yes. I bet you were not a fan. I bet you
itched to get out to the midway. And
yes.
I never really loved the rides. I like the games.
Okay. But
I was a games guy.
Why did all of our parents insist on forcing us to go look at goats?
Well, that's
and
what
sheep?
A fair is. A fair is about agriculture.
That's fair why it's about rides.
That's why it's
and
hosted by the agricultural district. That's the reason for the season.
But you buy the
like
ticket.
Christmas is about, the birth of Jesus. The fair is really about
goats,
agriculture and goats. The presents, the tree,
it's all gravy.
Everything else. That's the show, the spectacle. That's not what it's really all about.
So your family, basically, you felt guilty buying a ticket and not going to see what it was actually
all
for.
Those 4F kids.
Yeah, 4-H.
4-H kids.
Yeah,
that's right.
4F.
Spent the time raising that goat for months and months.
I believe my wife was in that department. I believe she had goats growing up, which is something.
It's not about the concerts or the food or the rides or the games.
Because what little kid likes food and rides?
Then at the end of the way
games.
out, we go by and get the pitch to buy a above ground hot tub. Something like that.
We've done it. My family's done it. My mother-in-law bought one at the fair. One of the best days of my life. Getting to actually, I had never until that point, I had never seen someone purchase anything at a fair. Never. And she's like, we need a hot tub. I'm buying. I'm like, all right, well, how about this one? I'm inside of it in the middle of the warehouse. And, they've got Mattress Giant in there. And you're like, hey, I'm going to buy I almost bought one of those massage chairs. And the way the guy, it was like $5,000. And the guy's like, look, give me like $300 now. And I'm looking at Hannah. I'm like, we got to get it. We have to get it. She would not let me get it.
So we didn't buy the massage chair, but we always stopped by the one where you put the quarter in, the big metal one with the feet on the thing.
Yeah. Your whole family?
Everyone would stop. After walking around all day, your feet were getting tired. So pop a quarter into one of those things and, sit for your 30 seconds that you get with your quarter to ease your tired, aching feet at the end of walking around the fair all day.
Well, so in my home as it stands currently, I've got 2 little boys. My wife is queen of the fair. I mean, no one likes the fair more than Hannah Jane Nancaro Woods. No one. She's already she had designs to go tomorrow. I can't go. I have a doctor's appointment late in the afternoon, so I can't go. If she wants to go with the kids, great. Thursday is already on the Tony Gwynn Fair Day. Essentially,
fair opening to Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn Fair opening day is the day we're going. But I'm a fan. It's really fun with little kids because they do the rides and the food, and it's an excuse. So you're like, I've got to take the kids to the fair, so obviously I'm going to eat like a big turd since I'm here.
Now you've been to Disneyland with the kids. You went recently. Different. There, all the rides are included, but at the fair, you get the tickets. It's a good math lesson. So you've got 40 tickets. How can you math? Okay, this ticket is six for this ride.
I don't need. I just buy a
you just
big
keep buying and buying
of tickets. I
as
buy
many as you need.
I get the most that I can, and then I'm the dad that's, hey, we've got 60
We
tickets.
use more
You
at the
better
end.
ride. Get down
See,
the
now,
slide again in the burlap
I'm more
bag.
of a ration out the tickets and
I know.
make them last as long as possible sort of dad.
You make them beg you for the tickets. You're lording over the tickets. Now, obviously, the best part about the fair is the food, and it's not oversold. It's fantastic. The corn place, amazing, incredible. The turkey leg, phenomenal. Never could even get close to finishing it. The corn dogs,
I didn't like the turkey leg.
Oh, I love the turkey leg. Well, I think mostly, Paul, is I like walking around with it.
Right.
Like, oh, look at this!
I-
Look at this guy.
I don't
like the
dis-
Hey, you do
idea.
CrossFit because you're carrying a big
I
turkey
don't
leg
disagree. However, if right down the street they're opening a place where you could any day you wanted
Turkey
go
legs.
get a turkey
A
leg,
giant
how often would you actually
roided
go
out
down
turkey leg.
Never.
and order a turkey
Never.
leg?
Never.
So, eat on the car.
Yeah. Is that guy? Yeah. Oh, he must have gone to turkey legs.
What kind of prehistoric turkey
Yeah.
did these legs
Come
come
from?
from?
There's only one place you can ever eat a turkey leg.
It's true.
and it's at the fair.
And we'll just where else can you walk around with
Eating
a
a
big meat stick and just
greasy-
like, hey, how you doing? Just shoveling it down your throat. I love it.
Funnel cakes.
Funnel cakes. I don't really mess with the funnel cakes. It's too messy. I get powder all over myself.
That's
But
never been a problem for you.
it's true. It's true. But I get the cinnamon roll. We're big cinnamon
Oh yeah,
roll
we
fans.
always would get the cinnamon roll.
Phenomenal. All right, so they got some new places out here. I wanted to give you guys the new. This is again news.
Please,
news you
yes.
can use.
Oh, absolutely.
Here on Ben and Woods is the.
I hope they're wheeling in the samples right now. I mean, we're a number one morning radio show.
Yeah.
They should be wheeling in samples of fair food for us right now.
I think that there's been a disconnect, and I'll just say this: I'll probably get in trouble from the fair people, but that's okay. There's been a disconnect, and I'll tell you, when I first started in this business, we started as a show in February. Fair is in June. So that June, they had, hey, you guys all come in today. So it was the day before it opened. Carte blanche, whatever you want. You can ride any ride, you can play any game, and you can eat whatever you want. And I thought to myself,
Media night.
it was me. No, this was even pre-media night,
Oh
Paulie.
wow.
This was like pre-everything. We had our run of the land. And I thought to myself, it's really cool. I get to be on the radio now. I live in a great city. I've hit it. This is the pinnacle of career success. I have VIP at this fair, and it was really phenomenal. We haven't had that kind of treatment in a while. Would like to get that back at some point, but I digress. So they got a couple of new places out there, Ben. In your face pies is going to be a new one, and it's
in your face pies. I like to put pies in my face.
I do too. I like pies. It will be featuring sweet and savory hand pies and
Oh my god.
and pie cones. All right, so that's
Pie
one
cones.
one new place.
Okay, wait. So like the
Like a-
pie shell
like a
is like in an
waffle
ice
cone?
cream cone shape, and then they put the pie filling in
I'd be all in.
the cone. I like that idea.
I would be all
I
in.
like that idea.
So make sure to check out In Your Face Pies. Cheesy Chef is going to be serving gourmet grilled cheese and a 1 pound block of mozzarella. So you could get a 1 pound block of
do
mozzarella.
they do something to
Maybe
it?
you walk around and just peel it and eat it like a big.
Is it melty or fried?
Don't know.
Or it's just a big like giant string cheese piece.
Rise and Shine Desserts will have sweet mini pancakes and breakfast sausage dipped in funnel cake batter.
Not enough breakfast at the fair. That's somewhere where they've been lacking in the past. I like that.
Sugar Puff Daddy. No, sorry. Sugar Puff Candy will be featuring a new craze, freeze-dried candy. So that's another new one that they'll have out there. But you know what else I get?
Space candy.
Yeah, you know what else I get there? I get the pineapple cut in half with the teriyaki chicken in it.
Oh, that's
with
like
the
the
rice.
That's like the
It's
healthy
delicious, though.
alternative
It's
at the fair.
delicious. They put it in an actual
Pineapple,
It's
yeah.
delicious. So that's a good. But the corn dogs are always. I'll probably go. I'm going to set the over under at 2.5, and I'll probably hit the over. Because I'm definitely going Thursday. I always pull Bo out a little bit early and take him, just the two of us. So I'll definitely do that. So I'll probably go one more time with the.
You can go Friday night. You can go see Kevin Hart perform.
No, I'm good.
Still thinking about the brick and mortar location for the Ben and Woods turkey leg restaurant.
Yeah, be all in.
People
Or
are
the
gonna be
in your face pies.
stopping all the time.
Ben and Woods pies.
Leonard Skinner will be there.
It's not Leonard Skinner. There's not one original member in it. You can't just call yourself Leonard Skinner.
The Springsteen Experience. It's
Not Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen, but Springsteen
It's
Experience.
Mike Springsteen. He's really
No, it's
good.
Josh Tanner. Says here he's a Jersey-grown reincarnation of the boss himself.
Which
reincarnation?
Which fair game were you best at? Obviously, they're all designed to be horribly unfair.
Oh, me,
ironically.
the big hammer. No,
I never once got the big hammer up to the bell.
No,
never once.
It's hard to get the big hammer up. The older you get, too.
There's the
triacoustic
tossing the
therapy.
ping pong balls into the. That's a tough one.
I really don't like many of them.
I always
Paulie, I
thought
picture you
basketball
shooting the
that
free
should be
throws.
good, but those are so hard to
So
make.
rigged.
They're
It's
so
rigged.
small. The the balls are
they
so
bend
bouncy.
the rim a certain way.
It doesn't go in.
Is the bank shot the key, or is it
No,
the
you have
swish?
to. You got to swish.
You know what the one I hated?
Perfect arc.
Lob.
The one where you'd put the frog on the platform and you hit the thing and the frog would flip over and you had to flip the frog onto a lily pad of some sort.
And the rings, you got to throw the rings around the bottles.
Oh yeah, I hated those.
I was okay at balloon darts.
Yeah, balloon
throw
darts.
the darts and try to break the balloons. Now the ones where you had to throw the beanbag and knock over the little face that was
Kewpie
covered in
dolls.
fuzz, and if you didn't hit the exact middle of the Kewpie doll thing, it wouldn't go
I
over.
don't think I was ever really good
At any of
at any of the fair games.
I wanted to win. So you think you get it done and then you win that giant stuffed bear, but then they give you this tiny prize. No, you have to win 17 of those and trade them in for
a
the
big
giant stuffed
You'd
bear.
always see like the guy, like the stud from high school walking around with his hot girlfriend, and she's carrying like a big giant bear, and you're like, so
Are those
big.
plants? Do they like give those out to a couple of people to walk around just to entice people to play?
That's not a bad idea.
I think they probably do.
That is not a bad idea.
Johnny
at
asks,
all.
"What's the longest any of your goldfish from the fair lasted?"
Never
I
got
had
a
I had a
fish.
beta fish that I got at the fair.
Big surprise.
Yeah, and it lasted like 6 months.
You
So I think
just
it's
call
pretty
it.
good.
You
That's
just
not
call
bad.
it a fish.
I mean, that might be an entire lifespan of a goldfish.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, how long are they supposed to last?
I never got one at the fair.
No, I don't think we ever came home with any pets.
No,
from the
but
fair.
I do love the fair. I really do. I'm excited it's here.
Just a stomach ache and tired feet.
Tired feet and grumpy kids, and they're fun. They ride more rides and stuff.
Farm
now.
grime,
It's good. My wife drags me to the flower exhibit, so I will go see all of the different.
I actually do like the art, the photography
Yeah.
awards, the contest. You go up and see the cool pictures inside the racetrack area where they post them all. I do enjoy that part.
She really wants to get one of her roses into the. It's like a bucket list. Well, I'll never hear the end of it. I'll have to go mind the rose. Like, can you go watch the rose?
Like a
today?
prize-winning
Yeah,
rose.
she wants that, and she'll make me go up there and stand there. Don't touch it.
She wants a
Don't
blue,
even look at it.
blue ribbon for
rose.
her
Yeah,
rose.
she's all about it. So, man, I love it. I wish we had fair tickets to give away. Well, we don't. Maybe we will. But I am, even with no love from the fair, supporting the fair. I love the fair, and even if you take away all the perks that we once got, I will still love you.
The
Fair.
rest of the concerts.
Yeah, Boys to
here.
Men coming.
Boys to Men on June 22nd.
God, I'd go see that in a heartbeat.
One of the Marley sons, Stephen Marley, will be there. Nelly will be there on June 28th. Elle King, Alabama, Switchfoot.
Always, it's mainstay at the fair. Local boys.
Well, have fun if you're going to go out.
Are you not going?
San Diego County Fair. I don't know. We've got our trip that we're going on next
Train
week.
tomorrow night.
You're kidding.
Kicking things off. They're the first show.
I give me
of
some
the
drops
summer.
of Jupiter. I'm okay with that.
I know. So you're not going to the fair.
I have no
Meet
plans
Virginia.
at the moment.
How
to
long
go to
is
the
it
fair.
here for?
So always through the 4th of July, the fireworks last night.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the chamber with traffic. Just going to warn you now. The traffic's gnarly, but it's worth it. Even if I'll wear it, that's how much I love it, is because I'll wear it for the traffic. So there's your fair talk on Ben and Woods.
All right, we got Jesse Agler coming up at the bottom of the hour, the Incorporator, Brian O'Grady in our 9 o'clock hour. So lots to get to. Also coming up, an update from Bob Melvin on his starting rotation, what it's going to look like this weekend in Colorado, and a couple of big name pitchers in the news as well. It's all coming up on this Blue Ribbon Award winning morning program. It's Ben and Woods. Let's check traffic right now on San Diego's #1 sports station. Last day without fair traffic. On
That's right.
97.3 The Fan.
You bastard.
There it is.
I hate you. The
It's a good
turkey
song.
legs
It's a
of
good song.
The turkey legs of radio. Ben and Woods.
Got to see our friend Matt Scraby last night in the Odyssey Suite. He was actually hosting the pre and post game show while Sammy's been off. I don't know. Sammy back today after the Cubs series
tonight.
Is he?
tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Scraby though been hosting 12 games in October, covering the Padres Wild Card Series win. He's done with that. Now he's on to the National League Division Series against the Dodgers. Tony Gwynn Jr. and Jesse Agler featured throughout the NLDS series. Everything starts today with the release of episode 4. Covers NLDS Game 1 at Dodger Stadium. Just search 12 games in October on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Now, it's not time for that episode yet, but if Is It Extra Sweet doesn't make it into that podcast, I'm going to have to call Scraby.
That's a good point.
It's got to be in there.
That should be episode 7, I would think, coming up in a couple weeks.
That's not
the right one.
That's not.
Extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Just saw Adam. Thank him again
Thanks
for picking
again,
all the
Adam.
food last night. I thought it was a real hit. We had that discussion about what to eat in the Odyssey Suite.
Oh,
And
it
I
was
thought
great.
everyone was pretty happy with the selections yesterday. So Bob Melvin, before the game, did mention that Ryan Weathers will, in fact, make his next scheduled start. Despite getting roughed up against the Cubs on Sunday, he will start on Saturday against the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field as the Padres a little mini road trip, just 3 games in Denver before they return home again next week. A little skeptical about that one, but I
Bring
will
the bats, man. You know, bring the bats and outslug those guys.
I will defer to Bob's judgment here. No reason why, Ryan Weathers can't bounce back, have a better game. You just don't want him to torch the bullpen again. Go 2 innings or less.
Tom says in the chat, 2/3 of an inning, 7 runs. Like, man, that's a tough day at the office to be sure. I don't know, man. It's not.
When it comes to Weathers, we've seen some good things from him over his, kind of 2+ sort of seasons that he's been up in the big leagues. He's been very streaky. He goes through these, periods where sometimes velocity dips a little, command, he loses
the change
it.
in velo is
he'll just get
odd.
shelled.
Well, as
for
his dad told everyone
a
on
couple
Twitter,
weeks.
the longer the game goes on, the more powerful he gets. But it's hard when you don't want to leave him in longer because he gave up 6 runs in 2 innings. So that's a bit of a.
Let's start with that.
It's
that.
a bit of a bugaboo, right? Hey, I'm really good in the later innings. Yeah, we got to get you the later innings.
Maybe coaches saw something and hey, small fix, you'll be fine for the next start. You got to kind of trust the coaching staff in a situation like this, but we will see.
Well, I mean,
opening themselves up for second guessing if he gets shelled again.
No question. But what are your other options? I kind of gave them to you yesterday. You could maybe skip. You could maybe. There's a couple of rest days built in, as you said.
There is. As someone suggested on my Twitter feed, and I thought it was a good idea. Nick Martinez. He's not built up for starting right now.
But you could open with him.
But you could go opener and get 2 or maybe even 3 innings out of Nick Martinez. By the way, Nick Martinez did it again last night. Has appeared in every Padres shutout win this season. He started the first one. He's come in out of the bullpen in the last 4. I believe the Padres now have 5 shutout wins after last night. They have all included Nick Martinez on the mound in one way or another.
Yep.
So I feel like you could easily set him up as an opener and then get it to Carlton and Tapia like they did, and get through 9 innings, give up 3 or 4 runs, and
cobble it
hopefully
together.
The offense can score some runs at Coors Field. Is that a better option than Ryan Weathers? I'm not sure, but they're opening themselves up for some second guessing if it doesn't go well. I think that's the Saturday game, middle game of the 3-game series this weekend in Denver.
This is the last time we play these guys, or we play them a bunch more.
Rockies?
Yeah.
We got at least 2 more series. Yeah, it's not as many as
it's not as many as it used to be.
But I think
One more
you
home,
still
one more
have.
away.
Will Weathers be? It'll go Darvish, Weathers, Snell.
I believe so. Yes.
Man,
After Musgrove, Waka in this 2-game series against the Mariners.
You shell shocked, right, from playing there and some of the games that they've had over the last few years. They've not played well, and they certainly have not played well in Coors Field. And so, in such a crucial time for this team to get on a roll, it's probably the last thing in the world you want to look at the schedule and see. That being said, they're not a good team. You're a better team than them. Go beat them.
Again, we're talking about the last starter in the Padres rotation,
right?
And how critical it is the Padres get good 5th starts. Now look at what the Texas Rangers are doing, And they're doing it without their number one starter, the guy they signed for a ton of money in the offseason, Jacob deGrom, who was transferred to the 60-day injured list yesterday. Now, I was told that it's more of they need a roster spot, and he's already been out for a while, so might as well make the move. It's not necessarily a worsening of the problem.
Yeah, he did a setback or something.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that. But at the same time, that means you definitely know you're going at least 2 months without the guy that you supposedly was going to be the anchor to your pitching
it's
rotation.
not retro or anything.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's
like what
retro.
happened with Campy last week, right?
Yeah, he's already, you know, he's already
been out for
it
weeks.
doesn't change the situation much. But they've been doing it. They've got the second best record in baseball. One of an incredible run differential as well. And they've been doing it without Jacob deGrom. They've been getting great offense. They've been great pitching from other guys like Eovaldi have stepped up and gotten the job done for the Texas Rangers this year. It is possible to overcome setbacks in baseball.
Yeah, injuries don't have to be the end all be all. And you know, if you've got which we do, again, I mean, there's plenty of talent on this team. This team is not lacking for talent at all. So yeah, man, you're gonna have to figure out how to win 2 or 3 in Colorado at least. They're not as good as you are on paper, at least. They're not as good as you are. You haven't hit your stride. You know, again, go 1-0 today, and we'll worry about Colorado later.
And speaking of big name pitchers and injuries, we didn't talk about it yesterday, but the reports out about Steven Strasburg.
So sad.
Severe nerve damage, according to the Washington Post, and it feels like, at least within that Nationals organization, not a lot of hope he's ever going to make it back to the mound, which is a real bummer. I mean, he's already had a good career, but he's just 34. You know, he could have pitched many more years, and you just kind of wonder, what if that guy could have stayed healthy? Because when he was, obviously had some spectacular seasons and led the Nationals to the World Series. But, you know, number one pick out of San Diego State just has not been able to get healthy. That thoracic outlet syndrome, nasty. I mean, Tommy John surgery is bad because, you know, you're out for probably 1.5 years recovering, but you do recover. Guys come back sometimes better than ever. That thoracic outlet syndrome is a different beast. It just feels like doctors, they have a much harder time figuring it out and how to get a guy back to the mound. And Steven Strasburg has really battled the last couple of seasons and just hasn't been going well. Nerve pain in his neck and his shoulder. Didn't do spring training, 60-day injured list before opening day, and he's not in the Nationals' plans anymore.
Look at his career, man. 113 and 62, Ben, with a 324 in his career. In his where he's been injured, you know, still a lot during his career. 113 and 62 with a 3.24 ERA. What if that had never reared its ugly head? He's one of those Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, except he actually had a better career. I mean, he won a World Series. His debut was one of the most electric things I've ever watched on a baseball field. Just incredible. I mean, it was rapt attention watching that game. And I just feel terrible for him. Now, the other thing too, man, is like, I don't mean to like sound crass or anything, but the deal he signed there was massive. I mean, it was a 7-year, $245 million dollar deal, Ben. And last season he made 1 appearance, pitched 4 2/3, did not pitch at all.
That was a year ago.
That was a year ago. That was in June 9th, like almost a year ago to the day. He made 1 appearance for 4 2/3 innings. And I mean, so the Nats on the hook for all of that too. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. You hate to see injury take a guy out, especially one that's as dynamic as Steven Strasburg was. So I don't know, man. I at 34 years old, you got to imagine with nerve damage, you can't even rehab nerve damage, really, right?
No, they said he's not even able to rehab right now. It's not like the rehab's going slowly. He can't even get it started. Ouch.
Awful, man.
So you said you got to see our friend Jesse Agler last night.
I did.
I arrived a little late, so I didn't get to see Jesse, but we will talk to him coming up next.
I have a question for Jesse. Why was my credential declined in the press box? Is there something afoot? Maybe Jesse knows the answer.
Declined in the press box?
I went up, they have the scanner. Access denied.
Huh.
They let me in anyway. So. But my access was denied.
We'll come back, talk to Jesse Agler.
Apparently.
Incorporator Tuesday next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Hint Water. Hint Water, delicious fruit-infused water with no sugar or diet sweeteners. More than 25 amazing flavors, including watermelon and pineapple, in stores or delivered from hintwater.com.
I like how you say watermelon.
I know. Watermelon. We've got Jesse Agler, who I heard talking with Tony Gwynn Jr. last night. They just had a long road trip. 3 cities, East Coast, lots of flying, lots of travel. Finally back home, just a quick homestand, 6 games, but it's only a 3-game road trip to Denver, 1 little quick flight and back, and then another homestand. So I know he's glad to be back for that. We will talk with Jesse, play a little Incorporator right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Looks like things are finally starting to wind down a bit, guys. Still clearing a crash from the 43rd Street off-ramp, northbound 805. Traveling on eastbound 52 right at the southbound 67 connector. There's a stalled vehicle over to the right shoulder. And looks like another stall in the North County. This is on the Twin Oaks Valley Road off-ramp of eastbound 78. Traffic is brought to you by the easiest casino to drive to. Viejas is just 25 minutes from downtown San Diego and 1 simple exit off the 8 freeway. No topsy-turvy, poorly lit roads are needed to win big. Arrive safely at San Diego's luxury gaming destination, Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. It is Tuesday. That means we are joined by the voice of the Padres, Jesse Agler. Jesse, it's good to have you back in town and back on Ben & Woods. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Great to be with you, and great to have the whole team back together.
It was, and what's the scuttlebutt? So why did my credential get denied at the press box? They scanned it and it said access denied.
I think it was Don Orsillo wanted to keep you out.
He was a little when I said hello to him, he was a little terse.
Like, what is he doing in
to
here?
me?
Yeah.
And
where were you when it was denied?
I was out front. I was literally coming up to say hello to you guys and Mud and Don. And I walked in, the guy's like, let me scan that real quick.
Like coming in from the outside on the 200 level?
Yeah. And he scans it and I'm like, that's weird. He's like, scans it again. And I go, oh. And he's like, wow, I know you're currently working, so go ahead. It's like, oh, that's weird. But it said access denied on the scanner. I'm like, oh boy, what have I done? I'm even off Twitter. I'm not even causing any drama. It's very weird, Jesse.
So MLB has these scanners, and they're at every stadium. They're like little attachments that go on the iPhone.
Yeah.
And it's like grocery store scanner, right? For the credentials. They probably work, if I had to guess, because we go to all the ballparks.
Yeah.
No.
1 out of every 28 times. And the amount of time that I've spent in my life the last couple of years waiting for some poor security person to try and make the thing work when it never does probably adds up to several months worth of my life. And it's everywhere.
So.
It's Denver, it's St. Louis,
I feel
it's
better.
New York, it's here. So it's definitely not you. I will also say at some places they are much nicer about it than others.
They were very
but
nice.
They never work. They
That's
never
so
ever work.
funny.
Got to turn it on, and the green light comes on, and they try to scan it. It's like, oh, I missed it. Then they're like changing the angle. Wait, hold it here, and then you're trying to hold it real still for them. And yeah, it's definitely problematic.
Well,
for sure.
Jesse, as he always does, Ben, when he comes on this program, he lives to make me feel better, and that's what he just did. So I do feel much, much better about that I have not been banned from the press box. Imagine being banned from a press box. That's incredible. Jesse, so obviously last night, I heard you guys on the drive home. Hannah and I left a little bit early, as we usually do, but we were listening to you guys on the drive home, and both of you and Tony were talking about how great Blake Snell was able to rebound from what, again, looked like, oh boy, here we go. I mean, no runs on the board, but 48 pitches in a couple of innings, and he really settled in nicely.
It was big. And I mean, I think that's the thing we're seeing from Blake that's maybe a little bit different. It's this whole storyline that we've concocted of, hey, he's got, a tough first half and then a great second half. There's obviously some, truth to that, but I think it's a bit overly simplistic. First of all, it's less than the first half in which he struggled the last couple of years. It's really been actually early June when he's kind of started to turn it around. But this year there seems to be sort of a next level to it, that things have not gotten away from him, even in the first half, the way they did maybe the last couple of years. And I think last night, as you said, was a perfect example of that. I think it was 48 pitches through 2 innings. And yeah, there were no runs on the board, but you thought, oh man, Weathers had a short outing the night before. You got a couple of guys in the bullpen who probably aren't available. You really don't want to be in a situation where, Blake can't finish 3 or 4 innings, which we have seen at times in the past. And he really buckled down. He got it. He didn't let it snowball. He just seems, I used the word maturity last night with Tony, and I did so kind of delicately because, that almost implies that there was an immaturity, and I didn't want it to come across that way. But I just think he's growing as a pitcher. And I think that, there's 2 things that are happening that it looks like with Blake. And one of them is he does have just that experience and that confidence that when things are, a little bit rocky for him, it's not going to get away the way it might have in the past. And beyond that, I think he's also a little bit more malleable out on the mound and maybe a little less stubborn. And it's like, okay, the slider doesn't feel great. That's fine. Let's just move on from it right here, right now, and go to the stuff that's working. All right, my fastball command's a little bit off. That's fine. Let's go to something else that is working. And, the ability to do that is something that's probably learned and earned in a pitcher and not something that just comes inherently. And Blake's lucky because he gets to watch, every couple of days, a guy like you, Darvish, who's the best example of that of anybody in the world, probably because of the options that he has. He gets to watch Joe Musgrove do it similarly. We know Joe's got the great wipeout slider, but there are days when Joe's like, you know what? I don't think the slider is going to be the pitch. And for Blake to be able to see that, experience it, have those conversations maybe with those guys over the last couple of years, I think has been big. We are definitely seeing sort of like Blake Snell 3.0 right now, and it's really good.
Jesse, we spent a lot of time, both on the air and off the air, trying to figure out why is this team not performing as we have expected. And I threw out the theory a couple of weeks ago and was reinforced again last night that even though there are many stars who theoretically can carry a team on their back, like Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto, that the Padres, and really before that, the Orioles and any team he's beyond, go as Manny goes. And until Manny plays like Manny, the Padres won't really be consistently good. They need Manny to be Manny. And we finally saw it last night. Your observations on just kind of Manny coming back and now looking a little bit more like we're used to seeing him.
Yeah, I would take it a step further. I agree with you. They'll go as far as Manny will go, but it's not just going to be Manny. It's going to be Fernando and Xander and Juan Soto as well. And we've had some version of this conversation before. I understand why people want to talk about Trent Grisham. I understand why people want to talk about Austin Nola. They're not the story, though. They're just not. And, those guys will be the ones, the big 4, if you will, that lead the way. And this team will go where those guys take them. Now, not to say there won't be days, nights, maybe weeks in which, the Trent Grisham or an Austin Nola is a part of it, or Rougned Odor, or frankly, a Jake Cronenworth. You are going to need them at times. I'm not trying to dismiss what they mean to this team, but it will be that this team goes where the big 4 takes them. And the reality of this season so far is generally those guys have underperformed our very lofty expectations for them. And so the team has underperformed our very lofty expectations for them. Manny, 3 hits last night, very encouraging, hit the ball really hard. Remember, this guy is coming off the IL, got to take a little while to get going. With Fernando, I think Tony put it really, really well. We were talking about it a week or so ago, and he made the comparison to Acuna last year. And I think Tony's point is, hey, we gotta understand Fernando is probably not going to be peak Fernando this season. It's probably asking a little bit much of him. He can still be really, really, really good because he's Fernando. But think about Acuna last year. Coming back from injury, he was good and he was dangerous, but he's not the guy we're seeing this year. It's like that next year back where he gets to kind of come all the way back from the injuries and be the full explosive version of himself. And I know there are different injuries in different parts of the body, but just a guy coming back after missing a whole year, maybe we have to understand that, Fernando can do special things this year, but we're still probably not going to get that 1,000% of Fernando Tatis Jr. And then again, we'll see how Xander's wrist goes. We'll see how Juan Soto continues to settle in. We've certainly seen some big time signs of life in the last month or so, but I think that's where all of our eyes should be on those guys. And yes, Manny looking the way Manny looked yesterday is very encouraging.
Talking to our pal Jesse Agler here, voice of the San Diego Padres on Ben and Woods. I talked to somebody last night, Jesse, somebody that I really, really respect, a very wise baseball mind. And she told me that she heard from a wise baseball person once, kind of a little game of telephone. She said in the first year of a new manager, you will typically see players play up a little bit, right? Everyone, and it's not like in some cases they're playing for their jobs, but everyone wants to make a first impression, right? And then in year 2, oftentimes you kind of see a little bit of a lull. And number one, I wondered, had you ever heard that before? It really kind of made sense to me when you looked at, even Jace Tingler coming in and then year 2 completely fell off. Now we've seen it with Bob Melvin. That to me made a lot of sense in my head. Had you ever heard that before?
I had never heard anybody say it before. There is certainly some circumstantial evidence here for that. I don't know how hard I want to buy that. I get it. It certainly makes some sense, and it's a great topic for Tony and I to kick around tonight. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
Trademark
we
Woods
appreciate that.
22. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. At this level, I don't know.
No, it kind of made sense, and it made sense, and then I went, but yeah, they're pros. But then again, I often, when people talk about Jesse, like whatever it may be, man. Oh, there's fissures in the clubhouse. It's also like, man, there's fissures in life. I have fissures with my wife. We still get through, and we win more than we lose. And I don't really have fissures with Ben. He's a hard guy to have fissures with, but it's one of those things where it's like these guys are pros. They're gonna get their numbers. They're gonna figure it out. But I don't know. When she said it to me, I went, that actually makes a little bit of sense. And again, like you said, there's a little bit of evidence here in San Diego.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to marinate on that one a little bit. It kind of feels to me a little bit like one of those things that probably doesn't give enough credit to the players. That just use Manny, for example. Like, do we really think that the reason Manny's numbers are down right now as compared to this time last year is because it's year 2 of Bob Melvin? Like, I don't know. Like that to me kind of paints a picture of Manny being something that he isn't.
Right.
But what you said, there is some evidence, that would suggest there's something to that. 20 and 21 with Tingler, that's a tough one because 20 was just so weird.
It was just hair on fire.
And 21 went so sideways because they ran out of pitching. That's not because it was year 2 of Jace Tingler. It's because they didn't have enough starting pitchers for the last 6 weeks of the season. So I don't know. I mean, I tend to look at stuff more directly like that than I do anything along those lines, but it's definitely something interesting to think about. Let's call it a good topic for conversation.
I'm skeptical. I would have argued the other. I would have argued the other way. First year, Bob Melvin has a lockout, doesn't get to work in the offseason at all, comes in with his hair on fire. Second season, you would think he'd be better off, more preparation, everything kind of lined up the way you'd want it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not an indictment on Bob. It's more of, okay, we know this
human
guy.
Nature.
Yeah, more human nature, as it were. Certainly not an indictment on Bob. I love Bob. I think Bob's a great manager, and I think if there's anybody that's going to pull us out of this win one lose one, I think it's Bob Melvin.
I mean, some people perform better when they're more uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's true.
Like feeling a little heat. Others, like Juan Soto, I think perform better when they are comfortable.
Yeah,
and the longer you've been with a manager and in a spot, it's all different for different guys. Jesse, let me ask you: have you ever been to the San Diego County Fair? I'd imagine with your schedule, it would be tough, but there might have been an off day where you snuck out with the family at some point.
No, we have not made it, as you said. It's funny. I was talking about this with somebody the other night. Like the summer activities for me around town are all mysteries. It's just like, unless we're talking about going to a Padre game, which I've got that very well covered. All the great summer activities of the sun shining in San Diego and 72 degrees in July, like that's all just sort of legend to me.
Now, Winter Wonderland at Petco
He's
Park,
all in.
Halloween,
Jesse's
skating at Coronado,
Jesse said,
Hotel Del.
We have beaches here.
Yeah, exactly.
Got
what are
all
those
of that.
like? I heard something about sea lions once. I'm not sure.
No. So I only bring it up because we were just talking about the fair. It opens tomorrow, and I thought that in honor of the San Diego County Fair, which of course is based on agriculture and farming, or at least in theory, I'd bring you an agricultural term today for the incorporator. So if you were just joining us, Jesse, kind enough and intrepid enough to work in a weird vocabulary word every Tuesday night into the Padres broadcast as the incorporator, try to slip it past Tony and all the listeners and see how he can work it in. And it's always something weird. So here we go. Today for the incorporator, you are getting bioturbation.
Is that leadoff hitter for the Cubs?
No, bioturbation is the mixing and turning of soil caused by organisms moving through the soil. So think of like worms, like
Tilling.
crawling through the soil, tilling the soil.
Great word.
With like worms. So bioturbation is your
Love it.
word for a baseball broadcast.
Bioturbation. All right.
That's a nice, easy one.
It
All right,
is.
that's
Yeah.
good. Thank
See, I
you.
knew you
Yeah.
would say anything was too easy.
Too easy. I mean, there is dirt on a baseball
Yeah,
field.
but there's no.
I don't think I've never seen a worm crawling around an infield, but hey, never know.
Why do you think they call ground balls worm burgers?
Worm burgers.
There you go. Look at this guy.
Oh, I have set him up so easily.
It's just like
so easily.
This is the hanging slider.
I mean, they can't all be challenging. Sometimes you face a pitcher who lays one right down the middle for you, Jesse.
That's it, and we appreciate that one.
All right. Have a good broadcast tonight, and good talking to you as always.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks.
There is Jesse Ankler, voice of the Padres, in our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new road.
So I went in last night to say hello to Jesse. That's why I was walking into the press box. I want to say hi to Jesse. And I was talking to him, and in walks Boog Shambi. I got to meet Boog Shambi for the first time, and I had never met him before. And I said, maybe I've dapped him up at the winter meetings or something.
We had him on the show at the winter meeting.
Oh, so we did meet him.
Yeah, sitting right next to us at the winter meeting.
You sat about 2 feet away from him,
you did.
talked to him
You
for
absolutely
15,
did.
20 minutes.
Well, he did say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I love coming out with you guys." So that was really nice. So I had met him.
That was good.
I had met him, apparently.
You know who he took a long time to meet, but finally did? One Brian
my man.
O'Grady. We're going to catch up with BOG following his stint in Korea. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods here, 9 o'clock, Tuesday morning on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again to Jesse Agler, voice of the Padres, just joined us, and we move right on to our next guest. And I'll say it is very good catching up with him. I'm sorry things didn't go as well in Korea as maybe he was hoping, but looking forward to hearing about his experiences. Back now in the United States, our friend Brian O'Grady, former Padre, back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. BOG, always welcome on these airwaves. Good to talk to you again.
Top of the morning to you, sir. How are you?
Ben Woodsy, good to hear you guys' voices. Good to be back and back on air with you guys for sure, man.
So walk us through it, man. We've talked to you every step of the way, actually, and we love you and know that you had a good experience playing in Japan and played well, and then after the season decided to take on the KBO. Kind of walk us through how that all went, man, and what went down.
Yeah, so decided to go there. It was just the smartest decision at the time. But unfortunately for me, I pretty quickly realized that it might not be the best fit for me. Just mentally, it just wasn't really good for me.
That's a rough thing to realize. How long? Few weeks in?
Yeah, it's that, it unfortunately very clearly showed itself on the field, and things happen, and it just didn't work out, and I'm happy I'm back now. I have when I say this, I don't want to make it sound like Korea was a bad place or the people there weren't great, because the people were great and Korea was fine. It just, for me personally, just was not right, and it's hard to play well when you're feeling that way. And I think what happened was probably for the best for both me and the team.
Was the separation difficult? Not to pick at a scab here, but obviously they were hoping for big things from you when they signed you, and I know you were hoping for big things as well. How difficult was it, the breakup here? It was just like about a week ago.
Honestly, not too difficult.
That's good. It's honest. It's honest.
It was just kind of time. And I had, in the beginning, we had American coaches too, which was nice because I could, that was one, I could communicate with them and stuff too, which is obviously very nice, especially when you're, in a foreign country like that. And they got fired a few weeks before I got released. So that hurt too when all that happened. But, it just got to the point where, at least in my mind, I was like, for my personal mental health and for the team, I'm like, this is probably just not in either of our interests. And when it finally happened, it was more of like a relief as opposed to anything else.
That's a bummer, man. Well, it's not. It's actually a really, really great thing. Talking to our pal Brian O'Grady here. It's interviews like this that I think a lot of times we, even in the media, you can forget that players are absolutely humans. And you and I were DMing about, you missed your daughter's first birthday, and you're like, bro, it's the worst thing in the world. Like, that's the only place I want to be is with my daughter, my wife, on her first birthday, and I'm over here and my swing's jacked up, and I can't even imagine what that's like to go through. And you got to go into the locker room, put your uniform on. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm ready to mash today. And it's just, that game's hard enough, man, without throwing all that stuff on there. So I'm really, really impressed and glad that you're talking about it and talking about your mental health as well, because it's so massively important. And we forget that you guys, these superstars, in a lot of cases, are actually human beings with families that you miss.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was terrible. I can't wait. I fly home on a red eye tonight, and I can't even tell you how excited I am to see both of them. But it's, like you said, baseball's hard enough when everything is right in your world outside of baseball, let alone when things are rough or you're missing people that you love or whatever. It's just, for as great as Japan and Korea were, and the people, how nice and supportive they were, it's hard to not feel alone over there with just the difference in culture and the language barrier. So I think it's just, especially the international thing, man, it's just tough. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you just don't really know what's going on in a player's head because if you look at my numbers, you're like, oh wow, what is that? But in reality, probably didn't really have much to do with the actual baseball.
Well, we need to remember that here. We American baseball fans, American baseball media, that when guys come from other countries and other, it's we are like, no, come on, let's go perform. You're making $2 million. You need to perform. And they're like, I don't speak English. I got no friends here. I got no family. I don't know how to drive. I don't know where I'm going.
Clearly, Ha-Seong Kim has had the opposite. He came from Korea to here first year, adjusting not just to, faster pitching, but also, where am I getting food? How's this all working? Everything. I mean, it was difficult for him that first year.
And we need to remember that, man. We absolutely need to remember that when we're talking about players going over both ways and players coming over here, BOG. It's we really never, you don't think much about it, but it is a very, very, a lot of difficult hurdles to overcome over there.
Easy. They're getting paid well.
Yeah, they're getting paid. Suck it up, Buttercup. We love to say suck it up, Buttercup over here. How was the pitching over there? How did it differ?
The pitching was definitely a level down from Japan for sure. There's a couple guys who are pretty good, but in generally speaking, overall, it's definitely leveled down. I'd say pitching and defense were probably the biggest differences. I would say they're both a level down for sure. There's some guys who can swing it over there. But yeah, I would say those are probably the two biggest differences.
Just like nothing is ever 100% good, nothing's 100% bad either. What was your favorite moment, whether it's off the field or on the field, something that you'll take with you and cherish from your time in Korea?
Probably on the field, when you go up to bat, they have like their songs they sing when you're going to hit. So probably my like walking up to bat song that they would sing, or while I was hitting that they would sing, because in Japan they weren't allowed to chant like the music we playing, but because of the COVID rules, they still weren't allowed to like do their normal chants when I was there. So Korea, that was the first time I got to hear it. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Talking to our pal Brian O'Grady here on Ben and Woods this morning. So you left Korea, you stopped by Driveline, and Driveline is a place that I am fascinated with, BOG, and you wanted to fix your swing. We'll ask you about your future plans in a minute, but walk me through what it's like to go into Driveline, what they do, and how effective it is. Is this the first time you've done it, or have you done it before?
No, this is the first time. So while I was still in Korea, I almost went this off season, but I ended up not doing it. And then while I was in Korea, and when things started not feel right, it was kind of like a last ditch effort for me to try to figure something out. So I was like, whatever, let's try it out. So I started talking to him then. And once I knew I was coming home, I'm like, it's on the way. Might as well just stop there and try to get some work in. And it's been great. It's just more I've never really got into like all the data and numbers. So I'm like, maybe this is going to help me. But I knew something was a little off in my swing too, as well, aside from the mental part, that it wasn't as efficient as it could be. So I thought this would help, identify that and get me back to normal. And I think we have done that. My trainer here is great. The past few days have definitely been much better. I got one more today, and he's just keep in touch, and they have like a whole online program and everything too. So we just keep rolling with that, and I'll do it while I'm back home. And the first day here, Kyle Bodie, he saw on my tweet on Twitter, and he came in, and I sat there and talked to him for like 45 minutes. Great guy. It was nice to talk to him and catch up about baseball and stuff. the place is beautiful. I mean, it's got everything you could ever want, and all the people there are super nice, and it's a cool place.
They got you shirtless with electrodes like hanging off
Biometric
you.
sensors.
Yeah.
I'm actually, that is actually today. Seriously.
Just text me a pic. It's no big deal. Just text me a pic.
So, Brian, you've been in a couple big league organizations. If Driveline is so great, and everyone seems to say it is, why aren't teams specifically doing that? And I know the Reds hired Kyle, and he worked for them for a while. So I guess
that was on the pitching side.
They were trying to do some of that there, but I mean, how does it compare to the kind of info that you get, from like a San Diego Padres?
Yeah, so now, I mean, there's definitely more former Driveline guys who are in other orgs right now. They might not be, major league hitting coaches, but I know Boston has at least 3 of them in the organization. Like there's definitely more of it now. And I know a lot of guys come in the off season to at least, like you said, get some of these readings and numbers to see if there's anything they can do better or whatever. But I mean, I would say also I haven't played here in a year and a half, so it might be different now too. But I would say teams probably use it. Some of the data, you get some of it, but I just think I was actually talking about it with my trainer yesterday here. Like there's a better way. Like if you have someone who truly understands all this stuff and like this is what they do, like a guy who learned from Driveline or whatever, who maybe oversaw the whole minor league system or something, and like once a week could check in with you and be like, hey, this is, you struggled a little bit this week. This is what the difference we're seeing in the numbers or whatever. Just wanted to let you know. So that way, that you're not crazy or something, and maybe something has gone a little off. But I think it can definitely be used better in my experience than what it has been.
That's fascinating. And it seems like such a worthwhile investment. And again, the way that you just phrased that, BOG, talking about how, it would make sense to have a guy like in Peoria, right? That is like, hey, everyone that comes up, you're all going to be here and training, and we're all using the electrodes and getting all the info, big leaguers included, all through spring training, and we're going to get you locked in for the season. And then after a couple of weeks, all right, man, you're flattening it out a little bit here. Your load is crap. This is what we're seeing. And again, doesn't have to be some intrusive, because you hear a lot of times, some hitters are like, I can't remember. I think it was Joey Votto. Was it Votto? No, because he's into that. It was Brandon Drury, who was here last year. He goes, man, I tried all of it. I was hitting like crap. He said, my dad called me and goes, hey, man, see ball, hit ball. And he's like, I just put that back in my mind from when I was a little kid, and I went out and I started to rake. And sure, yeah, I think a lot of hitters and big leaguers think I don't need all this info when I'm going up there. But man, a weekly check-in of like, hey, you look locked in, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. That could be very beneficial.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that I feel like that's the beauty of it is if you don't like that stuff or you're going great, you don't
open the email.
Yeah, you don't worry about it. But if you're struggling for an extended period of time or whatever, then you can go back to it and see if there's a huge difference. And maybe there's not. Maybe the pitcher's just, maybe you're not getting anything to hit. Maybe they're pitching really well against you. It could be that. But if there's something glaring that's in there, then all right, maybe we can fix this and we're back on track.
I love it, man. I think that's a great idea. So before we let you go, one more for you, Brian O'Grady. What's the plan now? What's the future hold for you?
Yeah, so my agent started talking to teams yesterday. So I'm not retired. I definitely still want to play. So my hope and goal right now is to hopefully get a job in AAA somewhere and get back just to playing, man. Honestly, if I could get back to the big leagues this year somehow, that would be just icing on the cake. That's probably not in my realistic expectation right at this moment. I mean, anything's possible for sure, but I would say just getting back into AAA and hopefully get an opportunity to hit again and get an invite to spring training somewhere next year would probably be my number one goal. But I miss enjoying the game and being out there with all the guys. And so just really want to go play and have some fun again.
Who was it last year that was at the AAA middle of the year, low of the low? Was like about to hurt and was about to retire, came back and ended up raking, got called up at the end of the season, had huge home runs. I can't remember who this was.
What team?
For us?
I know it wasn't for the Padres. It was a different team. It was a team that went to the playoffs. Is this ringing any bells with anyone last season?
When you said it, I thought you were talking about Matt Carpenter, who was literally about to retire.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Yankees were like, all right, we'll give you a shot. And he hits 13 bombs. I mean, like you said, man, anything is possible, and guys need hitters. If you get locked in again and you start to mash.
I'm going to try to figure out during the break. But I like Brian said, maybe it's not a likelihood, but you never know. You catch on somewhere.
Manifest it,
there's an injury or two. You get hot, and all of a sudden you get a call up in September, and you can be an impact in a pennant race later this year, Brian. So
stranger things have happened.
Keep your chin up and keep working hard, and we'll keep following your career as well. And I always appreciate your time.
Keep that Irish work ethic, man. You'll be fine. And the luck of the Irish. That's what we're calling on here, buddy.
I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for having me back on. It's always fun talking to you. You know that.
Our pleasure, man. Love to the wife and baby, and enjoy yourself, man. I know you will, and look forward to seeing you back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, brother.
Brian O'Grady on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. This is going to drive me crazy until I figure it out.
Maybe somebody in the chat.
Someone might be able to figure it out. We'll come back. Look ahead. Padres game 1 of a quick 2-game series against their natural rivals. Seattle Mariners in town tonight. Get to that coming up after a check of traffic with Bennett Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Pulled the trigger yesterday.
Oh, you all right?
Changed cable providers.
You did?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is. It feels monumental.
Did you have Cox before?
No,
I've got Cox
I had,
at my house.
I had AT&T DirecTV Stream.
And what did you change to?
We'd been having troubles technically with some of the issues. So I finally pulled the trigger. Guy came by a couple weeks ago, left his card, and I emailed him and he called me back and I said, I think I'm ready. So we're switching to Spectrum.
That same guy
in
knocked
North
on my
County.
door and gave me a nice long pitch. And of course, I sat there and listened to
It's
it.
one of the weirdest phenomenons really going right now. If you really were on top of the game, you should probably be switching like every 6 months.
It's such a beating.
The introductory deals are always so good. And then
Phenomenal.
No matter who you go with, and then they jack up the prices. I actually had no idea how much it had gone up. I thought I was paying one thing with AT&T, and I started looking into it, and I go, wait, they got me for this and this too? I was like, it's insane. I'm saving like $150 a month.
I told you
by
guys
switching, but that's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it to streamline, and we're getting better internet speed. Kids
I'd
are really
love
happy
to
about that.
See this experiment through you. So find out how long it is until they jack up the prices. Set a reminder in your phone for the day before. Switch to a new provider.
Switch and switch
Let's see if
again.
we can save you some money.
It's such a pain. I try to, I've got long days already, but I got the drive, so I try to use that. And I basically spent my entire drive down to the ballpark last night
on hold.
On hold.
No, I wasn't on hold. I was
Talking.
talking with him about all the changes that need to be made, and then I have to get the speech. Now you have to still call and cancel your old one. They're going to try like heck to keep you, so you have to be firm and say no.
Yeah, what if they offer you a killer deal?
I'm sure they'll offer me the world, but I mean, I've already made my decision to move forward. So
I told
now
you guys
I
when
got to make that call in the next couple of days and cancel the old service.
when I took over, Hannah was like, I don't want to pay for this. I'm like, all right, well, I have to. So I'll just take it over and I'll just do it. So I remember logging on to my website and I was looking through all the different services we had, right? And I'm like, I don't think we need this. So I deleted it. I took away from my package and my bill went up. And I go, it was still like, I was like, I'll save like $7 a month if I remove this. Hit total. I'm like, that's more. I'm paying more. I had to call and like they're like,
I'm paying more for less channels.
You were on the introductory. Now I have, in typical Woods fashion, I have fewer channels that I used to, and I pay more. So it's really, it's been a really cool ride. It's really a fun, just any way they can bend you over. They're like, yeah, I'm in.
There's got to be a better way. There really does.
Has to be.
Padres game 1 of a 2-game series tonight. So unlike all their other American League series, and now the Padres play every team in the American League, but for every other team other than the Mariners, they're playing 1 3-game series, either home or road, one or the other, and then the next season they'll switch. But with the Mariners, they play 4 games, 2 here and 2 there, and I think it's supposed to be that way every year. So your natural rivals, you get that 1 extra game, and it's a couple of short 2-game series. You get to see them every year, though, in your ballpark. So this is the Mariners' trip to San Diego, and it'll be Logan Gilbert on the mound tonight against Joe Musgrove in game 1 of the 2-game series. Now, Gilbert, his ERA is 4.08, but his whip is under 1. Hasn't allowed a lot of base runners, so he's a solid arm that the Mariners are throwing tonight in the game. Of late, his most recent start was not a good one.
Good.
Shelled by the Yankees, 4 innings, 7 runs, has given up 2, 3, and 2 before that. So multiple runs in at least his last 5 starts. I'll have to look further than that. So it hasn't been necessarily his best latest outings, but he is a good pitcher who doesn't allow a ton of base runners.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about their bullpen. I don't know how good they are. I do know that they're, massive expectations going into the season. 4-6 in their last 10, Benny, 29-30. They're a game under 500. So they've disappointed a little bit. I eerily similar type of situation with the Padres and the Seattle Mariners. I don't know who's healthy for them, who's not healthy. I'm assuming Julio Rodriguez is healthy. One of those guys that you want to go see if you get the chance. One of the young superstars of baseball. But yeah, dude is, by the way, Logan Gilbert, 15-3 all time on the road. Really likes pitching on the road. for some reason. So Padres got the work cut out for him. Try to get into the pen, and see what you can do. But they're very, very similar teams.
Joe Musgrove, meanwhile, coming off his 2 best starts after 6 1/3 against the Yankees, 1 run, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, unearned against the Marlins in his last outing. So he's going to try to continue to build on that and hopefully give the Padres back-to-back wins for the first time in a long time.
They just got swept by the Rangers, the Mariners. Looks like the bullpen's a bit taxed, not getting a lot of length from their starters right now. But yeah, listen, this is a team that you're absolutely capable of beating. And Joe Musgrove goes out, keeps us in the ball game. The bullpen's been phenomenal lately. Keep that rolling. Everything is pointing in our favor. I'm hesitant to pick a winner tonight, though.
See if in the hours before the game, if the Padres make any roster moves, if Xander Bogaerts is ready to come back and rejoin the lineup, or if you might need an IL stint. Once you get a couple, if he misses another day or two, there's really no reason not to just put him on the IL, because 10-day retroactive with 2 off days coming up, we'd really only be talking about 3 or 4 more games. And at some point, you might just say, all right, enough's enough. Just take a few more days off, and let's see if that helps the wrist.
Let's play what manager said it. Quote, we've had stretches here and there where we started to get it going a bit, but it's been tough up and down the lineup. That could be
Bob
Melvin or Scott Service. We need to get it going. There's no doubt about that. Sometimes when you aren't hitting, it looks like you aren't trying. The team is trying, just not executing. Is there a handbook that they give?
I don't like this game.
There's a binder, and it's got tabs in it. Offense struggling. You flip to the tab, and you say, hey, baseball's really hard sometimes. We felt that the last couple of days. Still a lot of games left to play. We need to get it going. We got to use our off days, kind of wash it off and move on. It is like, this is right out of the Bob Melvin Scott Service playbook. The teams are damn near identical. They really, really are when you look at their records and there's some injury. They're really banged up in Seattle, but yeah, they gave up a ton of runs to Texas. So they're a team kind of licking their wounds a little bit right now, but hey, we've seen teams like that come in here and absolutely dominate. So no idea what to expect tonight. Zero. Wish I had some analysis for you. But this team, our team, very, very hard to handicap, Ben. Very, very hard.
It definitely is. They're not the only team. I saw Adam Wainwright had some very similar quotes as last time about the St. Louis Cardinals going, I don't know why we can't get on a roll. Consistency is our problem one day to the next. This is something we're seeing around baseball. It's not
good teams too, alleged good teams.
Not just the Padres who have been dealing with it. All right, we got one segment left. Paulie's going to give us some headlines on a Randall report.
Oh, there's a story I know he's fired up for. I know it.
We'll get to that. First, just a reminder, if you want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long, just give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Simply download the Odyssey app, follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are. Back after this on 97.3 The Fan. Good show today. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com. Check out the possibilities. Cars.com. Where to next? All right, we put in a new bet.
Just looked at me very creepily.
We put in a new $10 bet on the board behind me. Very simple.
Easy one.
Can the Padres win a second straight game tonight and beat the Mariners?
We've done since the game one of the Marlins series: win, loss, win, loss, win.
And yesterday's win felt great.
It did,
but
so did
and even if
Saturdays
and Thursdays.
They go out to win. They go out and win 6-1 tonight. I'm still I'll be happy. Obviously,
I'll be very happy.
But I'm not gonna be like, I have problem solved, right? Like we got to win a couple in a row here. Like, let's go.
A nice long run.
I mean, some would argue that a winning streak doesn't even occur until you get to the third.
Get 3 wins is a streak.
Yeah.
1 win is a win. 2 wins is back-to-back wins. 3 is the start of an actual streak of wins.
And 4,
two wins, you could still split a 4-game series,
right? Which we just did. It's all right. We'll just do very simple. Can they win 2 games in a row? The roulette wheel has gone black, red, black, red, black, red. I'm going to buck the tradition, and I will take the Padres in a dub tonight. I will take I can't root against them. I'm not going to root against them.
You hemmed and hawed a bit.
I did hem and haw, but I also didn't want to pick them to lose.
I don't like them having to be on the losing side, but
you have to
have some emotional insurance if they do lose.
Exactly
I
right.
win $10 of your money.
Yes, more of my money.
And I'm already a little behind the 8 ball on our current bet, which is the NBA Finals going
fine.
Well, splitting the first 2 games is the worst result I could have. I wanted Denver to win both at home.
You could have lost both at home.
Well, that's fine too. Then the Heat could have won it in 4 or 5 games.
That's true.
But right now, nothing will happen to me tomorrow. Game 3. Obviously, someone's going to win, but then I need whoever wins game 3. They have to win games 4 and 5.
That's right.
Or I'm out and you win that bet. So
Okay.
trying to maintain my $40 advantage. We'll see how that goes.
Well, good for
New
you.
bet on
Luckily
the
for
board.
you, I'm a really bad gambler. So
Not from what I've heard lately.
I don't gamble, so I don't know what you're talking about. I do not gamble.
New pair of shoes over there.
I did. Get
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
I literally did get a new pair of shoes, but I just paid for them with regular,
not gambling,
salaried money. I bought these shoes, by the way. I'll hold them up to the stream.
I haven't even noticed your shoes.
These are a new pair of shoes.
I mean, how often do you look at a man's shoes?
That's true. Andy Dufresne, red. Seem like a man who knows how to get things. I hear you're a man who knows how to get things. I bought these shoes. I told Paulie this. You know, Russell Wilson has his own shoe brand. And I'll say this. I can't decide what he's better at, quarterbacking or making shoes. I've worn them 4 or 5 times.
Do these feel like Seattle quarterbacking shoes or more like Denver?
These are Denver quarterbacking shoes, Ben. The guy said, you're going to love. I said, well, they look sharp. And he said, they take a minute to break in.
There's no chance I'm buying that.
Bro. And I looked at him, I'm like, all right. I mean, good quality. They're quality item. And I said, yeah, I'll give them a whirl. The first time I wore them, I was like, I had to soak my feet in Epsom salts. After I wore them last night, I'm wearing them again today. Paulie, I'm trying to break them in. Russell Wilson, they look good.
What's the brand?
It's a Good Man or something. Good Man.
Never even heard of that.
Good Man brand. They're Russell Wilson's shoes. And so
I'm not a big fan of things that need to be broken in. Let's just design them better. I guess I will, like a pair of rainbow flip-flop sandals. Those need to be broken in.
And they hurt.
I will do them for a while.
Painful.
Yeah, for a while.
With sneakers, like if you mostly wear low top shoes,
right,
and then you buy a pair of high tops that go above the ankle, like it's gonna feel weird.
Feels
and
weird.
Take some time.
But they don't hurt. These hurt.
Yeah,
these are painful.
That's not good.
Maybe more time. If I'm not a Broncos fan, so more time on the quality of your shoes, less time being a mediocre quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Because they're feels kind of like they're made out of cardboard. Also,
they're very high quality cardboard.
Very hurtful. To my
Woods has spent 5 years breaking in our producer Paul Reindl to the point where he is now feeling comfortable like a nice old shoe. We'll get to the Rhino report after this check of traffic.
Here
wrong with
comes our
97.3
old
The Fan.
shoe, Paul Reindl.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. We still have a stalled car partially blocking the Sorrento Valley Road off-ramp northbound 805. Also a collision on the Sycamore Avenue on-ramp to westbound 78. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder of that ramp. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts and locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Paulie, Johnny in the chat says, I've never heard someone be called a comfortable old shoe as a compliment.
Yeah, me either.
My Hannah, if you're listening, you're like an old shoe. I'm so comfortable in you.
Worn out,
Holes in
but comfortable.
Laces are all frayed.
Oh, everything's frayed. Just like
stains.
This is what
all over
happens
the
when Ben
place.
tries to get cute with his
He tries
introductions.
to
All you
get-
gotta do is say, hey,
just intro the thing.
coming up next,
It's the
we're gonna
Rhino
hit
Report.
some traffic, and after that, Paulie's got some headlines. The Rhino Report. That's all you gotta do.
He tries to be so.
I like
He tries to
I
be
like some
so
metaphors and similes
What's
and
the word I'm looking for?
He hasn't nailed one
a
yet.
little flourish.
He tries to
Throw
be
a little I want a
fancy.
little flourish in there.
You want to, yes, a little pizzazz, a little flair. When his version of flair are insults. He just insults you.
All right, time
Oh
for
my
your
God.
comfortable, stinky,
Smelly old. Here's our old smelly
Old
shoe, Paul
reliable.
Reindl. Oh, my stomach hurts, dude. Oh my God.
We'll start off in the NHL. The Stanley Cup Finals continue, and it's not going well for the Florida Panthers. We talked about Samantha Rivera last night. We talked about her and don't do this morning. Just giving a stiff arm to some drunk Las Vegas fan trying to get into her camera shot. But on the ice, the Golden Knights won 7-2.
So
Just
many of
complete
these
domination.
So many of these games in the NHL playoffs. Like, okay.
Can the Padres hire the Golden Knights hitting coach?
100%.
Because they're scoring
All right.
more than the Padres are.
So stick with me here. I need to go back and look, but recency bias tells me this. The hardcore hockey fan, what do they say every year? There's nothing, and I mean nothing, like the NHL playoffs, man. And I mean nothing. Just battles. There's been more blowouts in the last couple of rounds than is it maybe ever? Didn't the Stars lose like 7-0 in their last game? There's been a lot of really bad. That's a bad hockey game, is it not? For a playoff game, that's a bad
not
hockey
a great game.
Vegas led 2-0 after 1, 4-0 after 2, and then scored 3 more in the third period, where Florida scored a couple of goals as well.
I showed actually the really cool highlight on the 4th goal. Guy named Mark Stone of the Golden Knights on the ice, and it's one of those shots, the checks. His stick snaps in half, and he drops it on the ice because he can't use a broken stick. So he skates over. One of his teammates quickly hands him his stick. The puck immediately comes to him. He does a quick move, feeds it over to a teammate for a goal. He has to actually grab a stick from the bench and without ever stopping, he grabs the puck, passes it over, and they score a goal, and they're up 4-0. It's just how things are going right now for the Golden Knights.
So they're 1-1 in the series. Yeah?
2-2, 2-0.
Oh, 2-2.
2-0.
No, is it?
2-0.
I thought Florida won a game.
No,
they didn't?
no, it's Vegas. They scored 12 goals in the first 2 games. They have dominated so far.
Tell me more.
The
about
Stanley Cup
how
is
the NHL
2 wins
playoffs
away from heading
good.
to Las Vegas of all cities.
Interesting.
Oh, the Stanley Cup kind of feels kind of Vegas when you think about it.
Does
Big gaudy trophy.
Yeah, true.
Like that.
So cool. Best trophy by far.
Yeah, they'll
By
have it
not
displayed
even-
in
really
a
cool.
casino near you soon.
Yes. Come get a buffet and touch the Stanley Cup for
yeah.
$7.99.
Vegas up 2-0. Game 3 shifts back to Florida on Thursday night at 5 p.m. on TNT. Next up,
12-4 win
Yeah,
for the Florida
that's
Panthers,
right.
I'm sure.
Next up, new job for recently retired MLB future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols.
Okay.
He was named a special assistant to Commissioner Rob Manfred yesterday. And
It's a nice
he's
move by
also-
Commish.
Also going to do a little work as an analyst for MLB Network, but he's going to consult with Major League Baseball on a range of topics, including player relations and issues with the Dominican Republic, where he is from. I think that's a perfect role. Who better to be the spokesperson there? And yeah, Manfred said beyond his long list of accomplishments on the field, Albert is a highly respected figure who represents the game extraordinarily well. He cares greatly about making a difference in our communities. We are excited for Albert to join other former players who are doing important work for our sport, and we will welcome his perspective across our efforts.
It's kind of the ultimate goal in life. It's to get hired as a
Retire at 40,
retire
something, early 40s,
early,
and
then become a special assistant to someone, maybe a consultant of some sort. You know, you do a couple of appearances, you put in a little work, and I'm not saying that that's what he's doing, but I'm just saying he's probably going to take it very seriously. But I'm
Now-
just saying that is the ultimate goal.
Now, remember, Albert Pujols already makes $1 million a year as part of his deal with the Angels for a personal services contract for 10 years after his retirement. So he's now double dipping. He's getting $1 million a year from the Angels to do probably very little, just to be, just be part of the organization, come out and wave a couple
Show
of
up
times
once or twice a year.
And now he's got a new job in the Major League Baseball offices
Such a
as
good
well.
bit if you can get it, man. It's such a good bit. Like, we retire, Adam brings us back every 6 months to do an appearance.
We'll
at
do a phoner every once in a while
a Jiffy
with-
Lube
It sounds like
appearance.
he'll be doing a little bit of work with
Oh, yeah.
Major League Baseball.
For sure.
He said, Pujols said, I couldn't be more excited for this next chapter of my career. Commissioner Manfred and I share the same passion for growing the game in the DR, and I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish together. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to join the MLB Network family. Been a huge fan since the very beginning. And
Triple
can't wait to
dipping.
get started. He made his debut this morning on MLB Network, and he's going to contribute here, it says on ESPN, to on-site coverage of MLB's London series later this month between the Cardinals.
Like, who's the low man? All right,
Cubs.
send him out there. Send him
Oh.
out to London.
It helps the Cardinals are playing.
No doubt. I'm
Padres
sure.
kind of did it with Dave Winfield after his career. They wanted him to go into the Hall of Fame as a Padre, so mysteriously hired him as a vice president with a nice salary for several years. Never was totally sure what Dave Winfield did. I always called him the vice president in charge of being Dave Winfield.
Best
But
gig in the world.
I don't know. You got a guy in the Hall of Fame wearing your cap. I think that's pretty cool.
Badass.
And it worked out, I think, for the Padres.
And finally, you sent this one over. You want
The first person I thought of when I
Talk about
saw
this
this
one.
Instagram ad or a story pop up this morning. And tell them what it is, Paulie. Tell them what they've won.
Well, we're talking about Top Golf, one of my favorite things.
No one loves Top Golf more than Paul Ryan.
No, nobody loves it more than my wife.
Now
actually.
Paul and Megan Ryan.
Now part of the Callaway family.
Now part of the
Yes.
beloved Callaway
Now,
family. Yes.
I've only been.
I'll be running the
Top
one
Golf.
here soon enough.
I was telling Woods, I've only been to Top Golf twice. Had a great time. Both were in Vegas at night with the strip in the background.
That helps.
That helps. I mean, I know where the one in like Washington is located, and it's the same.
There's nothing against Sorrento Valley.
We're getting two
Nothing.
here, and
I
I'm
didn't say
excited
anything
about
about
both of them.
We are getting two, but this
So-
is not Top Golf.
No.
Top
this
Golf
is
for basketball
Jump shots.
shots.
Jump shot.
Yes.
Yes, it looks like we're going to be getting jump shots now, which is Top Golf for basketball. There was
Badass.
a renderings video that's been going around, and it looks really, really cool. You walk in, there's a bar, there's a restaurant, there's all the tables, and then there's like these individual little pods, booths, whatever you want to call it, where there's a full-size hoop, and it's essentially like free throws. I mean,
Yeah, for points and competitive,
free
just
throws.
like
Can you do like
Top
different
games.
shots? Like you can do 2-pointers and 3-pointers.
Probably, yeah.
and different
The-
spots
the
on
gold ball, maybe, yeah.
I'm sure they'll have a tracker and they'll know how far away you are or
Yeah,
anything like
so
that.
cool.
But
I'm
yeah,
down
the
to
first
have
one
more
is-
sports in place.
As long as
places
you don't
like
have to
that.
run.
Right. Yeah.
Top
no
golf
running.
is nice because you can stand
Swing,
there and you
play
can have a
golf,
drink and everything.
practice.
I don't want to have to do like a crossover dribble and defend anyone.
No.
During my dinner.
It's
The
not-
last thing I want to have to do during dinner is defend someone.
Yeah. No. This is just shooting. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, the first one's going to be opening in Atlanta. I do not have a time frame for that, but
So Atlanta, if it let's say it opens in Atlanta next year, 2024. San Diego will get it in 2049.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to that.
Well, should we open a batting cages version where you have, your
also
meals and your
I've
drinks?
seen videos of that's in the works. I think in Texas, Austin, maybe.
There used to
Dallas?
be an ESPN zone by my work when I worked in Chicago, and they had the one where it was football, but the guys moved and it was like real footballs. I used to go and play on my lunch hour. It was the most fun
like
game.
the
I've-
ESPN Skills
And-
Quarterback
and
Challenge
they
at the
move,
Pro
and they got the
Bowl. and-
hole in them, and you can throw
Yeah.
long. Oh, so great! I'm definitely down for more stuff like that. But jump shots sounds pretty cool. I'm not a great shooter, but I'm also not a great golfer, and Top Golf's pretty good.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. That's it
Anything
for
that
us.
has an electronic scoreboard.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I'm in.
that.
I'm in
That
on
makes
that
it
too.
Fun for me. All right, good job, Old Shoe Rindle.
Old Shoe Paul.
Another solid edition of the Rindle Report that
Just
brings
an
us
old, smelly, comfortable Paul
to the
Rindle.
conclusion of today's program. We got Braden in the building. Coach John Quintera is coming up next. We missed Braden last night. He wasn't at the he was one
Yeah,
of the
where
few
was
people
he?
who didn't make it, unfortunately, to our Odyssey celebration. Just working all the time, I guess. All right, for Paul Rindle and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.